You're listening to the Player Issue Podcast. Here's your host, Aaron Warwick.
G'day everybody and welcome to episode 19 of the Player Issue Podcast. Tried something a little bit different today and I think I'll quite like it actually. I've let the intro play, so there's a little bit of an insight. I've actually let the intro play before I started recording. Now normally I wouldn't do that. Normally I would edit the recording into the start of the show. So when I actually record the opens for the show, I would do it with completely no sound. So I quite enjoyed that. I think I'll have to look at doing that again. Anyway, that's enough into the insights. Nothing that you're excited about or want to hear about, but we'll get on with it because it's been 2 months since our last podcast, and I do apologise for that. I did actually record an interview about a month ago with a great gentleman. Had him around here for a few beers, he had a few beers. I had one or two, but not a beer man myself. More of a spirits, vodka, or really nothing because I haven't really drunk in over 2 years, really. Since a very, let's say, didn't end up very well on New Year's evening. The garden didn't, got fertilised, so I guess I was happy, but yeah, it didn't end too well for me. So I don't really drink too much since then. But anyway, we had a good time, we had a good chat, and then once he left, I decided I'll start editing the show right there and then. And it didn't end too well because the recording was completely stuffed. Really disappointing actually, because we had a good chat. We were there for a good hour or so. He wasn't so much a collector of player issue jumpers, I'll tell you that now, which it was a little bit of a surprise to me. We'll let you know, but he did have some insight as he is a designer. So he has actually designed a few things for me, namely my wrestling belt, my Fremantle Dockers wrestling belt, and also Clint's GWS one. And of course, for those of you who have seen it, he also designed Hamish Clark's Carlton belt as well, which is in the same United States template as my Freo one. So, great designer. He's also made a Port Adelaide design as well, which is, I won't let you know whose it is just yet, because he can let you know and show you when he gets his belt. But the design for that looked tremendous. I think he'll be very happy once he gets his belt for sure. And I can't wait to see it as well. Hopefully it comes to me in person and I can deliver it. But we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll hopefully get it to him very soon. I know it's only just started the process. So usually they would take about 12 weeks to get all done and dusted. So a little bit of wait, but it'll be a very exciting wait. I don't know what that noise is. I don't know if you can hear that. I think it's a chopper. It is 10:24 p.m. here, and it sounds like the police chopper is going over the top. There goes Tick-Ticks. Well, that was enough excitement for one night. So, yeah, Tick-Ticks, of course, being the show's mascot, our dog Milo. Chopper's gone now. We'll continue on. As I was mentioning, the episode that I tried to record previously with Dean Freitas. Yeah, unfortunately it didn't quite happen, but we'll try and get him on again at some point as had some good stuff to talk about, especially design-wise. So he does design clothing as well. That's predominantly what he does. He's actually just designed our basketball jerseys for our social mixed basketball team as well. Really cool design. If you want to see it, let me know. I'll put it up on the page if you want, but does some great stuff. Check him out. Shield Sportswear is his page. You might have seen him before. It's also on Big Footy as Freight Train. Constantly winning competitions over there with his design work. So check him out. And then hopefully we'll get him back on the show at some point in the future. So obviously this being the 19th episode, we're obviously real close to episode number 20. Now I don't know in podcasting what you would call a milestone episode, but being that we've been recording an episode every 1 to 2 months, I'm going to say that 20 for us is a milestone. As a result, we'll potentially have some great guests on for that episode. Kind of sifting through who we can get on and when's the best time for everybody. And even in that, we actually have an opportunity very soon to talk to our very first player. Not just any player. Here is a current AFL player who contacted the page and said he would be interested in coming on. So, yeah, that's a big get for us, and we're very excited to talk to him. We won't announce anything as of yet, because obviously if it doesn't happen, then egg on our face. But no, we're really excited to have a chat with him, and he's a collector of his own stuff and other stuff as well, which is what you want to hear from an AFL player, how they get into it and why. And are they as crazy as us? So yeah, really excited to potentially talk to an AFL player very, very soon. If we can get him on our milestone, I'm going with it, a milestone 20th episode, then that'll be huge. So keep an ear out for that. Hopefully it won't be as long as this. If it is going to be the 20th episode in the next 2 months, and it probably won't be with a player, but we'll see what we can do. Obviously, they do have to wait till the season's over. Yeah, potentially it will be, but we'll just have to see what we can do. But otherwise, no doubt we're going to have a great guest on. Do have some ideas as well. If we can't get him on in the next episode, do have some ideas to get some great people on who we've been holding in our back pocket for a little while because we know they're going to be great. So yeah, we'll have a great one no matter what happens. Alright, so make sure you hang around after today's interview. As always, we go through our pickups, or my pickups since the last episode. We'll go through what's been happening in the world of eBay. Not just sales, I'm talking about what I've been seeing. It's been trending and it's been rather frustrating, and I know that a lot of you have seen it as well. So this will also be a tip for anybody who hasn't noticed. It might be ruining the world of eBay, but we'll find out afterwards. After the interview, we'll talk about it and you'll get the heads up and you'll know what's going on. Of course, we'll talk about any new rumours on clubs as far as new manufacturers go for 2021. We'll also talk about any end-of-season sales, which is coming. No doubt it's coming. The end of season, obviously, is coming up, so the end-of-season sales will certainly be just around the corner. And, of course, we'll talk about the Port Adelaide very recent mystery Guernsey sale and how that went down in my eyes, as obviously can only be in my eyes because I haven't actually talked to anybody else about it in person yet, but I do have some reactions across Facebook pages and things like that which we will share. So we'll get into today's interview today. I do have to give you a couple of little heads up. Obviously, being the world that it is, if COVID, well, it wouldn't matter anyway because he is across the other side of the country, we do have to do things through Skype quite often. So today's interview was done through Skype, and his Wi-Fi unfortunately wasn't all that stable. So we did have a few spots where we had to stop and start again or stop and continue on 5-10 minutes later, which you won't probably notice because editing is quite powerful. But there are some dead spots in there, unfortunately, where I didn't edit it out because you want to understand what he's saying. I think you'll get it. I think you'll understand. And of course, at the very end of the interview, I tried to tell him that my computer was going to die very shortly, but I guess loves to chat. So, and that what makes it a great interview. Don't get me wrong. He loves to chat, so he just wanted to continue on, and unfortunately, as a result, my laptop did die halfway through a sentence of his. So, apologise for that, but we were at the very end of the interview anyway, so you're not going to miss out on anything. And one last thing I do need to let you know is, being a true Aussie bloke living on the Gold Coast, I guess had a little bit of a cussing habit. Now, he did give me a warning before the show. He said that he doesn't mean to curse, and he'll try his very best not to. But I'm going to throw a little bit of a challenge out for all you listeners out there who listen to the show multiple times, and it's fantastic that you do. This will give you reason to listen back to it multiple times. Challenge is going to be today how many times our guest says the F word. So yeah, that's a bit of a heads up. If you have children or older grandparents, that maybe this is not the family show that you want to listen to. But trust me, it is a fantastic interview, and I highly suggest pushing through it. He's a great bloke. He's a hilarious bloke, and I think you'll enjoy it, F-bombs or not. So anyway, we'll get into it right now. Here is our interview today with Blake Cook. All right, Blake, how are you going, brother?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
That's good. You're very excited. We've got the footy on in the background, I can see.
Yeah, footy's on in the background. Got a couple of Canadian clubs. Just been working real hard at work to try and fund jumpers, I think.
A couple of CCs, man. I'm set up here. I've only got a can of Pepsi in my hand, so nice. I'm a bit behind.
Nice.
I didn't have to wait today, though.
Well, there's nothing better than you come home at 7 o'clock and there's 2 games of footy on going, oh, how good's this? Half
yeah,
time at 1.
beautiful.
You're like, bang.
Beautiful, isn't it?
This every week.
My day off and it was 3:30 in the afternoon and there's a game of footy on. I was like, this is wonderful.
Oh, it's like up here now. They cancelled the Queen's birthday weekend game. So I normally have to have the iPad going with the portal speaker at work so I can watch, obviously, the Collingwood Melbourne game. You know, this is crazy. So I was like, at least I can come home for the night time and there's footy on.
Yeah. So we're halfway through the second quarter at the moment, the Bombers and Eagles game. It looks like it's going to turn out to be a bit of a blowout if they're not careful. Yeah. So anyway, we've been chatting away for about 10 or 11 minutes before actually getting on with the recording here. So hopefully we haven't taken away all the good stuff out of the show, but there's still plenty left to go, no doubt. Now, Blake, for those who don't know you, you live up on the Gold Coast. I think you may have just mentioned that.
Sunny Queensland.
Yep. Yeah. And so being a Gold Coast resident, people will be a little bit surprised to hear that you're not actually technically a Gold Coast fan as far as being your number one club. So who is it that you support? I'm
a Carlton man through and through. It was either Sydney or Carlton when we were growing up, and Sydney weren't winning anything, so Carlton it was.
So how did you come to that conclusion? So how did you have a choice?
Mum was Nan and Mum were Carlton. Dad and his mum were Sydney, and obviously the Swans were going terrible at the time. So I was like, here we go, you're navy blue.
That easy, eh?
And it's the same as I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and it didn't matter what they were saying, they were just Carlton no matter what.
Yeah, so, no. I feel that there's no way in hell my kids are going to have any choice.
No, they're both Carlton members, so I think they're both members before they were born. You just had to submit a name once they were born. So
yeah. I think you actually sent me something like that a couple of years ago when you showed me that, and I thought, geez, that was impressive. You really wanted them to be Carlton supporters.
Yeah, no, I got a bit of flack. I posted, because obviously you can't get player issue jumpers that are for midgets unless, or small children. So I posted a picture to Carlton saying, I think it was Australia, I think it was. And I said, I'm sorry for everyone, but saying this is a bit of a child abuse. And actually I started getting messages saying you can't post stuff like that on Facebook. It's like, thanks, Mum. It's all literally taken the wrong way, but it's alright.
Bloody hell. Well, I guess I'll be exhibiting some child abuse as well when I have my kids.
What do? You put a smile on someone's face. Dad had a big smile taking the photo, so why not?
That's what it is. It's just a little bit too much PC nowadays, really, isn't it?
Exactly. But we're fortunate enough a couple of times we've posted pictures of me. Little boy loves footy, so posted a couple of pictures to Sharon as well, as you do. And I think at one stage he was on the Sharon website as for children's footballs because he was actually sleeping next to his Sharon in the pram. Mm-hmm. And then Sharon put a picture up for us saying Oscar's planning on kicking 10 one day, so hopefully it comes true and Dad can get free jumpers. We can only hope.
Awesome. In the day of social media, in the age of social media, you'll be able to look on back on that as well. You will be able to pinpoint that exact moment where you knew he was going to become an AFL superstar.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but you can't be too pushy with kids.
I don't know. We'll try.
My brother-in-law told him once to say, because he's a Richmond supporter and he's a bit of a PC warrior, he's got no idea with football. And he said to him one day, he goes, Tigers go up, Carlton goes down. So no shit of a lie. My son comes around the house and goes, go Tigers. I said, what do you want to go outside? He goes, yeah, go on then. So, it's very frowned upon sometimes, but what do you do?
Now, just before we came on here, I was actually looking at back some of our conversations on the old social media, on the Messenger.
Yeah.
And I found out that we've been chatting for about 3.5 years now, off and on.
Jeez. And
our very first conversation we had is something I wish I could go back to as far as the reason that we're having it. I posted up, I'm guessing I posted up for sale a long sleeve 2000 Stephen Silvani jumper. And you actually inquired about it, and you offered me, I think, $300. And I think I said I'd let it go for $350. And I think if we look back on that now, I think, geez, $350 for a sauce long sleeve.
Oh,
must have been crazy.
Exactly. I think I seen one. I actually know word of I seen a mate with Tommy, and he put I think who was it? Lynchy was selling his brown jumper, and Tommy's going 2.5. And here's me thinking, if you're dropping 2.5 for a jumper, what's another $500? Because I think it was last night. I think he said, first to $3,000 wins, and I'm going, fuck, like if obviously Tommy's mad lines. I'm going, $500. Going, fuck, why not? If you're dropping 2.5 on a jump, what's another $500?
Yeah, it's mental. Like sometimes you wish that. Or honestly, I would sell a jumper and I would just forget about it there and then because you get rid of some stuff that you don't want to look back on. And I think that's probably the one that if I look back on it now, which I now have to, geez, I wish I didn't sell that. Especially.
Well, it's the same as now. I'm probably getting into now that I don't sell or don't trade for that reason because it's so hard to then, like, you're going through your phone and you don't delete photos going, oh, fuck, I wish I still had it or I wish I still had that. Like, I think at one stage I was, had a 2006 Lions Clash jumper that was Jamie Charman and I'm going, I think I sold it for like $250. I'm going, fuck, now I don't have that jumper. I'm going, oh, this sucks. But then I ended up getting a Michael Voss one, so I was going, oh, I upgraded, but I'm like, for a while, I'm like, geez, I wish I still had that.
Yeah, right. It's interesting. I mean, some people, again, like you say, will look at that and go, oh, it's to Sharman, like you've got the Voss, I mean, who really cares? But then others will look at it and go, man, I really still wish I had that, because to me that means a lot, or whatever. Like, everyone's got their own different opinions on their collecting and how they want to collect. So, yeah, you're spot on.
Because I think now, like, with the collecting, I probably don't drop probably as much money as I probably, I don't know, I shouldn't say should, but it's one of those things. You look at, obviously, a round figure saying $1,000 for a jumper, you're going, like, kind of kidding yourself, but then it's like, depending on how bad you want the jumper, obviously, I didn't see how the Freo jumpers ended up, but they were pretty good, like the Indigenous ones. But I think I got a Carlton one for $500 nearly, so I was just like, I just wanted the jumper, not the player.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're dropping like $2,500 on a jumper, and it's like,
it's easy to do. And half the time, if you're dropping that sort of money, sometimes, well, a lot of times really, you're not going to see that sort of money again coming back from that jumper.
No, well, it sucks because I've got one of my 31 and the old girl my mum still looks at my bank statement sometimes going, fuck, what'd you spend this money on? Going, don't worry about what I did. So I was just like, fuck, so I just try and keep my spending to a minimum, and then like, I brought a box of jumpers home last night, even though I think the wife's upstairs asleep, hopefully. I bought a box of jumpers home last night that have been queuing for the last 3 months at work. And I sent Hamish Clark a picture last night of one of the jumpers I had, and one of them's a Cade Simpson training jumper. And he's like, fuck, how good's this? I go, no, I didn't think I had that. So, and obviously the picture I sent you before, obviously Cuda that we sent on Instagram to him saying how good this Cuda jumper. So, I don't know, you kind of forget what you have if you don't take photos. That's why I kind of want to do more of.
Yep.
But I'm being a bit, I haven't done an Instagram page as of yet. I'd probably like to, with just more time. But then sometimes I like to keep some jumpers to myself because, as you'd probably know, as soon as you put something up there, someone goes, oh, geez, I'd love that jumper. It's like, well, it's not for sale. What do you want for it? It's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I think the missus was counting up the amount of messages I get in a day about jumpers, and she had a very good point. I think I had about 75 messages in a day, just from people inquiring about jumpers or asking opinions and things like that. Yeah. So I actually had to step back from some responsibilities on Facebook groups because it just gets too much.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, you're right. Like,
it's good having someone that knows, obviously, jumpers and stuff like that, and obviously their worth and stuff. But I don't know. But sometimes there's obviously a lot more jumpers now that are classed as player issue or match worn that you don't know unless you're getting it off the player or regarding like match worn stains and stuff. That's another thing.
Yeah, and there's a huge amount of interpretations of it. Like, there's obviously no set interpretation of it, but I think Jordan put up a post last night on the match worn player issue page, trying to figure out what everyone's opinions on. What everything's classed as. So you got your player issue or your match worn, and then you got everything in between. Now I put up my answer to that simply because just the way I look at it. So you've got your player issue jumper, which is made specific for the cut and the size of that particular player, but doesn't necessarily mean it has made it to the club, but it's still a player issue jumper because it was made for that reason. And then you've got player issued, which is exactly the same as above, but has made it to the club, issued to the player, but didn't necessarily wear it again. And then you got match worn, which is all of the above that worn in a game. But that, again, were different from other people's opinions. So you can't really get a universal opinion on it, unfortunately. But if everyone has their own opinion, it doesn't really matter.
Well, because it's the same as the ISC jumpers that come out. They're obviously printed together, but there's no GPS pocket.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's obviously a big sticking point for you guys because obviously people go, it's a player issue, no GPS. It's like, well, in my interpretation, well, it's not. It's only just a obviously printed jumper type thing, unless like you can prove to them it's either been worn or something like that. But
yeah, so that's again, this is exactly the reason why we say that there's no universal opinion on that. Because, my opinion is they're made at factory in the Fijian factory by the ISC team, and they often will be sitting there waiting for the clubs to purchase them, and then they'll either sew the GPS in themselves and send them off, or they'll send them off with some GPSs to the clubs who will then sew them in themselves. So, yeah, it's hard. I mean, everyone has their own opinions on what it is.
Well, that's why it's funny, because I've got a couple of first year Suns jumpers, and all they've got is a bit of wetsuit material and just sewed it themselves, I reckon.
It's funny.
Was it Matthew Warnock 14, and it's obviously got all the rips and stuff down the side, but it's all they've got is just gone and got like a packet of wetsuit and just stitched it on there. It's going, oh, the heck was this?
I had a Carmichael Hunt as well, and they had the weirdest GPS.
That was one of the first ones that I think. Yeah, I seen that one. I was kind of wanting that, but I got another one instead.
Yeah, it was the weirdest GPS pocket I've ever seen. It was incredible, but yeah, it's like I say, it's not universal. It never will be until everyone has the same manufacturer and things like that. And it's just probably not going to happen unless it's the NBA, but. Everyone will have their own opinions and their own interpretations, but what really matters is what you're looking for and you're collecting, and you can get whatever you like, but yeah, here's what it is.
That's why I'm always a bit hesitant, because most of the jumpers and stuff I buy, they're not, obviously no paperwork and stuff with them, because it's depending on who you get them from and stuff like that, but I'm under the interpretation, unless like you can photo match stains or even if the club washes and stuff like that, these days there'd be probably like 5 or 6 player issue jumpers out there, other than probably what 1 or 2 indigenous or special round jumpers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I think I watched the Suns game on the weekend, and Sam Collins' jumper didn't have the heat press reality on it, or or whatever the fuck that was. So I was like, something different. Because I've always paid attention to details on what boots they wear, what jumpers they've got on, and stuff like that. So I was like, but it's always the little things.
Well, there was a game recently as well where somebody's jumper got ripped. I can't even remember who it was now, but they came out with a completely different number. So they only had one jumper.
Yeah.
So, like, every team will have a different amount of jumpers that they have for that game or that round. And yeah, sometimes it can be only as little as one. So some will have 3, 4.
Tommy sold me it's a Brisbane Lions jumper. I think it must be like 52 or something, 47, or maybe 47 or something like that, but I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's the same. It's obviously a blood rule jumper. That was a heritage jumper, I think 2005, I think one of the old Fitzroy ones.
Yeah.
And it's the same colours and stuff, doesn't have the same badge, but he said to me it was a blood spare. I'm going, I know something different. Just put a bit of colour in my collection, so it didn't hurt. So.
Pity there was no blood on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be ironic. Anyway, so back to your collection in general now. So obviously being a big Carlton man, well, actually go back to start with. When I was looking at those messages, when I saw that you, this was like 3.5 years ago, as I mentioned, April 2017 is when we started messaging. And one of the very first things you ever mentioned to me was the fact that you had 60 jumpers in your collection.
Yeah.
How much has that grown or declined since then?
I'd probably have... I'd probably have 60 Suns jumpers and probably at least 60 Carlton jumpers.
Wow.
And then plus, there's at least probably, I think I've only got one West Coast jumper, but I think at least every other team's got 2 or 3 at least.
Yep.
And then in saying that, I'd say I think I messaged you during the week about a Palmer jumper.
Yep.
So I've probably got, I know, I'm a big fan on, obviously, Frio's, like, 25 years jumpers. I've made sure I got you to get me one of those, or 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, the first game at Optus, I think. So I'll probably, I don't know, top of my head, I think I've got probably 10 Swans jumpers, 1 Eagles. There was, 3 GWS, probably 8 or 9 Geelong. I've only got a couple of power jumpers. I'd have actually probably have a fair few Lions, probably. I'd have over 10 Lions jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is there? I'm trying to think who else now. Bulldogs, I've got a couple. I was probably 3 or 4. I think Richmond, I've got 3. I've got a Mark Coughlin jumper behind me. Actually, I bought that one on Instagram. Oh, I think it was on Facebook the other one. Oh, it might have been eBay. It was one of them.
One of the many.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd probably have at least over 200 jumpers now, maybe.
Nice.
At
Nice.
least.
Very
and then
good.
I don't move too many of them because I get the shits. Like, I know I don't want to go selling one just in case. I think I've got a Darcy McPherson blue jumper from the Suns. I'm going, fuck, I don't know. Like, he could be a good player, could not be. So I'm like, fuck, you move on to them, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, he goes on to play throne. He goes, fucking awesome.
Yep. No, that feeling. I've been through just way too many jumpers that I wish I didn't get rid of, but that's what the hobby and the collecting is all about, and I've certainly managed to trim down a fair bit on the non-Freo jumpers. And
trimming the fat.
Wouldn't even say fat. Like, it's hard to say because I had a lot of cracking jumpers in the collection, but then someone messaged you, like you say, someone will message you and say, "Oh, is this for sale? I'm really interested." And half the time, you feel guilty for having it because you're not a supporter of that club.
That's the same as me, myself and stuff like that. Like, I think I got a pair of Pav boots. I think it would have been a while ago as well when it was like, oh, fuck, how good are these? And you're like, oh, I love them. But then I'm like, I love Pav boots myself. Well, just being going, this is fucked. And what do you do? I'm like, obviously you want to keep everyone happy and stuff like that. That's why it's, because I think at the start, I think I obviously dealt a fair bit with you. I dealt a fair with Reese in Melbourne as well, and he helped me out a fair bit because I think I got a pair of Livestrong shorts off him signed by Mark Murphy.
Yep.
And stuff like that. But it's just crazy. Like, you just like, oh, you want to keep so much stuff, and it's like, I think listen to Lynchie's. It's a Guernsey, I think, not Jersey.
Guernsey,
it's a Guernsey.
Guernsey, yeah. So everyone has their own interpretation of that as well. Like, I see it everywhere, different types of things. But so you're a Jersey man, right?
Footy jumper, footy jersey, yeah, whatever.
Whatever, exactly.
Yeah.
More often than not, I'll say a jumper, but yeah, I don't really care. I'll call it anything.
I'll go one. Dave Solly's was the captain of the Suns. I put a battery in his car one day, and he's like, "Oh, yada yada." Oh, my mate was telling about your jumper collection you got, so I was hang on a minute, I'll go get a jumper for you.
Yeah, good man.
And behold, I'm like, oh, he got this, so I just got a jumper off him. Going, oh, thanks, mate.
That's
so
awesome.
I just think it's jumper or jersey.
And according to Dave, it's a jumper, so from now on you have to call it jumper.
Exactly, yeah. Footy jumper collection. So I was like, I'm not going to fight with him, it's alright.
Nah, fair enough. So yeah, being a Gold Coast resident, it hasn't been all that recent where the Gold Coast Suns have actually started selling off their gear at end of season sales. Is that correct?
That it is. I think I've been to one myself, and then I think the last 2 years before that, owning my own business sucks when it comes to days like this. So I send someone that I can trust to know what to get me and stuff like that. So then I probably spend half an hour to an hour on Skyping with what I want when they go there. So I was just like, oh, they got footballs, they got footy boots, they got this. I said, well, just show me. They go, well, you've spent enough money. I said, I don't care what I've spent or what I've done. I always say I'll sell the jumpers, but I won't.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying. But then I think last year, I went to the Suns one, and it was frustrating. It was really frustrating because I got there. I was with the first person there, and we're going, oh, how good's this? I went and picked everything else out, and then obviously it was Rankin and Lukosh's first year. So I was like, oh, sweet. I think I got you a Rankin jumper, I think it was. But then obviously he didn't play the first year. So most of the stuff was already, they were obviously brand new jumpers, but they're maybe training worn. But then I got there and like most jumpers were missing and stuff like that, where someone had already gone in and picked out what they wanted and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was a bit annoying that way, but then I was just like, oh, it's happened now. There's not much we can do. Just go and pick out some other jumpers. Yeah. So
I had that thought as well, where, you know, when they do these sales, how many people do they allow in to have a look and pick out their own stuff beforehand? So when I went to the Freo one last year, like being very good mates with Craig, who runs the locker room sale, he actually came to me about 10 minutes before and said, look, man, I'm really sorry. They would love to help you out, but to be fair to everybody, you've got your front front seat, basically. You're first in there, and that's the best I can do for you. And I said, man, that's great, because everyone deserves the same opportunity. And I think that was a good way to do it, because there were some fantastic jumpers there I missed out on, which really I wish I did have some hands on beforehand. Yeah. But no, I know that it was fair, and then I can't.
More fair, the same as obviously, because I think I have heard from Dave Beanie, and obviously Monty and stuff like that. They're big into obviously power. Mm-hmm. Or was it Port Magpies? I don't know, whatever they class themselves.
The Port Adelaide Football Club.
There we go. They say how crazy it is. It's like a three day camp out wait or something it was, and then you're allowed to go in and buy one or two jumpers, and that's it.
Yep. So they are mental, aren't they? They sit there for at least for 24 hours, and they have a big shindig about it. So I mean, it sounds fantastic, but then they're only allowed to grab two at a time.
Yeah, it'd be fucked, and that's why I think. But even I think Reese put something up about the Bulldogs did the same thing. You had to be a Bulldogs member to go in and buy stuff.
Yes.
At the end of season sale. So it's obviously you try and put it out to people saying, hey, who's a member? Can I borrow your card, or what's your details? Something like that, where you just obviously try and help people out. But then you're like, oh, geez, I hope they don't get any good that you miss out on. But
and you know they do, because you see some absolute dipshits who we've had to deal with over the years who we know are not Bulldogs members, and they put up a whole bunch of stuff that they were selling, and they've since been removed from all the pages that we're aware of, so thankfully you won't have to deal with that.
But the other annoying thing is, I think you posted about Hazley, Paul Hazley. Amazing football player, number 4, obviously for Fremantle.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to football and you see someone wearing a player issue jumper, and you're going, you're a fuckwit.
It's funny, yeah. There's no way in hell I would wear them, but the amount of times I go to the footy hoping to see people wear them, but that's because I have these cards and I want to give them to them, so I want to buy them off you. But
yeah, exactly. I exactly want that. We went to, who we going to watch? Carlton and, who was it? Carlton. It would have been one of the first Carlton games up here at Brisbane.
Yeah.
It was a Port Adelaide game.
Yeah.
There was a older fella rocking a Brendan Favola 2003 Heritage jumper.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no, sorry, it wouldn't know. It would have been, what year was it? It was a Favola Heritage jumper. It might have been 2005, sorry, because they didn't have the different, 3 and 4, they had the yellow, 5 and 6, they had obviously the different logos, but they had the older logo on obviously the raised one.
Yep.
And I'm going, how fuck's this? I'm going, and then you try and get enough courage going, geez, I'm going, well, then I have to go to the ATM, and then I'm going, then obviously, who am I with? Oh, the wife, she won't let me go get $500 out of the ATM and go, here, mate, here's this. But I think the same again, we went to Gold Coast, it was a Carlton game last year, so they must have had the Suns. Someone's rocking a Judd jumper. I think, and then someone else put a picture up the other week in Melbourne. I think it might have been yourself. Someone rocking a Chris Judd player issue. Oh, obviously GPS popping and going.
Yep.
Wow. Someone to give a left nut or $2 for that jumper, and here's this going, there's a bit of meat pie on my jumper. So that's why it frustrates me. If I wear a jumper to footy, it'd be obviously one that wouldn't be signed, because then say if you do spill something on it, you can wash it, but then it wouldn't be a Carlton white jumper, it wouldn't be a Heritage jumper, it wouldn't be me Livestrong jumper, it'd be something that'd be just plain obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
Just, if you spill something, we can wash it. And then I think mum wanted to borrow a jumper the other day, so I'm going through my cupboard going, all right, which one can I give you? She's like, I don't want a ratty one, I want one of the good ones you got. I'm like, rightio. So I go through and find out which player issue jumper I've got that's not no numbered or something. So if it gets wrecked, I go, oh, thanks fuck for that. Because the worst thing is obviously, I think with the older jumpers, like if you're wearing jewelry, you can obviously get caught, and then they start, you get the runs coming at them, and then I'm just going, this is fucked. And then it just, I've never been in classes having OCD, but I try and keep everything nice and clean and pristine, and it's just like, rightio.
When it comes to something that you're spending a lot of money on as well, you don't want to see it ruined that easily.
Depends who you ask. Because if I tell my mum I spent probably $200 on this jumper, it's cost me $800 or something, with the wife is going, how much did it cost you? Oh, it was $50, $50. So hopefully, if anything happens to me, I had started doing a list on my computer at work to say, all right, here's the real list of the jumper pricing, just to say that if something happens to me, open this, but we won't open it just in case you want to kill me yourself. So I did start doing a list up saying, all right, here's this just in case. So then I don't want them to say, oh, yeah, you only paid $200 for this jumper. It'd be all right, just let that go. So
that's genius. Like, yeah, I've got the same similar list. However, obviously Emma knows my collection well, and she knows what I collect and what I spend. So it's not, I don't hide it.
But it's the same as like, because I've seen like half your wrestling or most of your wrestling stuff. It's amazing, and it's like I'm the same. Like I paid $550 for Tony Hawk skateboard he rode in a demo video. I'm going, well, there's some stuff that you like and there's some stuff you want, but it also depends on how much people wanting to sell and when they need the money. And that's why sometimes you find that I think the Jersey Lotto page has helped out a lot of people saying, oh, hey, here's a quick sale, because I think, who was it? What's his name? John, what's John's last name?
John Carrier?
Yeah, that one I couldn't pronounce it all.
I probably got it wrong, don't worry.
Yeah, well, it's a wild name. Sorry, Johnny. He's, but obviously he did the Michael Voss jumper on 2003.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2003 Lions jumper. And obviously that would have obviously moved the jumper on quickly, and then hopefully someone that goes to the Lions got it.
They do actually,
which was good, and obviously it helps out people. And you see, obviously some jumpers are either hit and miss with there, which is obviously a shame whenever and you go, but also depends on what people think they have and what they do have as well.
Funny thing about that, sorry, man. Funny thing about that lotto actually is, the lady is actually a Brisbane Lions supporter, which is fantastic. She actually wanted to buy 5 tickets, so she put in a request for 5 tickets, then paid for 10. And when John said, hey, you paid for 10 tickets, do you want the refund? She said, oh, no, don't worry about it. Just keep it and we'll just go with 10. And then one of the 5 extra tickets actually ended up being the winner. So she's very lucky in that regard. But yeah, it went to the right person, I think.
I think it might have been Tommy ran one. I won. There was, I might have bought, might have been like $20 worth of tickets, but this is going back last year.
Yeah.
And I won both things. I think it was 2 out of 3, and I won 2. I was going, how good is this? But then I think one was a pair of Jared Berry footy boots, match worn and signed, and the other one was a, what's his name? Ash McGrath number 9 long sleeve jumper.
Yeah, right.
And Tommy, like I was a bit, it only sat like, with my jumpers and stuff, they only sit in the cupboard and stuff like that. So when people go, I'll send it down, I'm going, it's only going to sit in the cupboard, so don't stretch too much.
Yeah.
But then Tommy sent me straight away saying, I kind of wish I didn't really do that jumper. And like, I think he ended up buying the jumper back off me, which was obviously good for him. And it's like, yes, it was. I could then go and buy another couple of jumpers. But then it was more the fact that, and I gave the boots to my physio from footy that actually coached Tommy Berry.
Yeah, right.
Was going to send him a message saying, hey, is this, mate? I just picked these up in the op shop. $20 they were. So I'm gonna find out. I'll go. Yeah. So back to me physio. So I was saying to him that obviously you got him in the op shop or something like that just to stir him up, saying But how's his claim to fame? He's from Horsham, and he looked after Rebels and stuff like that. But then he's like, I'll check out this photo I had on me Facebook. I'm going, fuck, this is Mitch Creek that plays for the Boomers. And going, how good's this? And he's like, fuck, Mitch. It's probably the same with you and Barra, but isn't it? G'day, Dave. How you going, mate?
A little bit, yeah. It's good when it comes to that, but I know that you yourself get to deal with a fair few players through your workplace or just in general, good mates with a few players. So it is nice, isn't it, to have these players that you can have a little bit of a relationship with.
It is. It's nice. Like I think I was saying to you before. Obviously, I met Nick Melchest. Yeah, with Nicky Mel when he first signed for the Suns. I had a bit of I always wanted to play football, but I was never good enough, as everyone's dream. Here's me on a Saturday afternoon. They just moved our work hours from 11 o'clock finishes on a Saturday to 2 o'clock. I'm going, fuck, how good is this? This is going to be fucking terrible. And lo and behold, he's just moved up and he's got his Range Rover with 24s on it just all of a sudden. I'm going, look at this car. I've got to work on this. This is crazy. walk in the showroom. There's Nicky Mel going, oh, "G'day mate, how you going?" So I'm like, "Oh, how good is this?" I'm going, "Oh, it's pretty sweet." And then, yeah, when I left that job, I hit him up and said, "Oh, hey mate, if you I'm gonna be doing this now." He's like, "Oh, sweet, no worries, mate. Wherever you go, I'll come with you." Because it was more just, I think he was just a friendly face when I first met him and stuff like that. And yeah, lo and behold, I send him a message every now and then to see how he's going with footy and stuff, and then just trying to get him at the minute. Like I think with everything going on with the Suns and stuff now, I'm trying to get him a bit of some free perks through one of the butchers that comes into work. They're like, "Oh, I need a couple of need to put something out on Instagram." I said, "Oh, well, I've got a couple of mates. I'll get in touch with them and just saying I'll see if I can get you some free stuff." So I did that and reach out and stuff like that. So it was pretty sweet. But it's pretty cool. Sometimes you go, "Oh, how cool is this?" Get the message someone on listening going, "That's pretty cool." But then you kind of think you're kind of a bit of a flog going, "Oh, I wonder if he's going to message me back." And all of a sudden you feel like a 16-year-old schoolgirl as soon as you get a text, like, oh my god, they text, oh my god.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest. When I was messaging Barra a while back, I'd get these butterflies in my stomach. Like, what is going on here? Why am I such a 12-year-old girl? So I know exactly what you mean. Thankfully now I've gotten over that a little bit, but it's still interesting. It's still weird. When the phone goes off and the missus goes, "Oh, who's that?" "Oh, it's just Barra." And I would never have thought I'd be able to speak like that, a few years back. But
yeah, exactly.
It's
and then
pretty
sometimes,
amazing.
well, because his nickname's Mel, and you're going, "Oh," and I'm like, because then I've got to tell people going, "Oh, who you message?" I'm going, "Mel." It's like, who the fuck's Mel? Nick. Fair enough now. It's, it's righty, And it's like, fuck, righty, I've got to try and friggin' then justify to myself going, "Oh, who are you texting?" Because it's like, "Oh, I'm texting Mel." It sounds like a girl. You're going, "Oh, fuck, here we go." But no, he's helped me out a fair bit. I got lucky enough to do a couple of the boys' cars. I think off the top of my head, I got Jack Bowes, Charlie Bellard. I met Dave Solo through one of my other mates. I got the old liaison officer. He comes and sees me now, so he's pretty fortunate. I got to meet. He works with. I'm trying to think his name. He played for Melbourne Storm and stuff. Always had a sweet beard.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. And then also I got Ballard, Bowes. I had Joshy Franco in at work last week. He's got Tate Kazler. So I pretty much get Timmy Clark here, most of the Suns probably coaching staff from Mel. So he helped me out a fair bit and stuff like that. So I said, actually took him around a carton of beer, went to his house and said, "Oh, here you go, mate. I owe you a carton of beer for all the work you got me." So pretty lucky that way. So yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, this is your own business, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Want to give it a shout out, man, so everyone knows where to go see you?
Select Auto Repairs on Instagram, Facebook. Just give us a like and shout out if you can. Anyone on the Gold Coast wants a car done, just let me know.
Definitely.
If you want to see me jumper collection, just come ask me. I'll probably have 4 or 5 jumpers in the cupboard. So.
Is that true? Do you actually have some jumpers in your workshop?
What have I got in the workshop? What have I got in the workshop? I think I've got a Jack Silvani boot. I think that's what that one is. I've got a footy signed by Parkin and Craig Bradley in at work. I've got a surfboard actually. I've got because I collect me sports reviewing and stuff. I've got another customer. He surfed on the world tour back in 2014. I just chatted him one day and said, "Oh, hey mate, yada yada yada. Have you got anything on board?" And he's like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I said, "No, just whatever you can." And he gave me one and signed it to work and stuff like that. So I was pretty fortunate. Always kind of want something that you can hang up and say, "Oh, hey, this person comes into work," and stuff like that. But then being a mechanic, everything gets dusty and dirty, and I don't really want to play if you jumper touched in like grease and stuff like that, because it's like, because obviously it's expensive to frame stuff, so it's like I think I got one frame jumper, and that's a Cade Simpson Anzac Day jumper I picked up. So the amount of times I've missed out on jumpers because I'm in Queensland, and you go on to Facebook Marketplace, they're in Melbourne. Yeah. Can I send you money to post jumper? Oh, no, you got to pick up only. It's like, you're fucking kidding me. And then funny enough, like, old mate just moved up from Melbourne. He's like, oh, I've got to sell this jumper. I'm going, fuck, how good's this? So, we're going to, I think we're going up to see my sister. So my sister lives at half an hour away in Coomera. And, got in the car. I think I had $1,200 I had to go get out of the bank to go and buy it. And it obviously framed, Anzac Day jumper, Cade Simpson. Obviously he's, I don't know if you beat, Bradley or not, with games record holder or not, but it obviously goes close. So I, got in the car and went and bought this because I think my wife was at work. I had my son with me. So I was like, oh, sweet. So we just left it up to my sister's for a year because it was too hard to get home in the car. Because I had to wait. He fell asleep on the way up there, so I'm like, all right, so I've carefully placed a jumper around him in the car like a big framed one, going, oh, how crazy is this? And going, oh. So it ended up working out. So yeah, finally got it from my sister's house, and it's not even mounted on the wall. It's just beside me. I can see it now. I was going, fucking hell.
You plan on putting it on the wall, surely?
Yeah, hopefully. We bought a house last year, so I was just trying to make sure that what we can do and stuff. Like we've got these two on the kitchen table, just chilling there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because they're right into the cartoons and stuff like that. So
yeah, Wolverine and Joker posters. So those are playing at home.
Yeah, so they're at home, and then we were right into a bit of Aussie hip hop, South Century. So I've got a South Century one behind me. I framed up myself, so it wasn't too bad. But then you stand back and go, it's fingerprints on it, and you get the shit. So it's like, yeah, you go.
Sorry, man. So it's a question that I ask a lot: is framing something that you would prefer or not prefer?
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I think I was lucky enough. I think it was maybe this time last year or year before. I think Jared Grant actually put up selling one of Gary Abbott's jumpers. I'm going, oh, right, yeah. Fuck, what's going on here? And I ended up buying it off him. And then it's got a Grippo stain on the front, like I think the one Lynchy had, Jonathan Brown one. But then there's obviously the one I didn't have paperwork for. It was a Gary Ablett jumper that had a bit of Grippo and stuff on there. Going, oh, that's pretty cool. But then what do? Do you turn it around and frame the front of it because you can see, oh, it's Gary Ablett, or do you turn around and it's got the number 9 and his signature on it? So I was like, oh, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I think you used to have the double-sided Carey one, didn't you?
I did have, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But then in saying that, like, how do you, unless if you got like a 2-way wall at home, it's good, but I don't know. It's one of those things, like, you probably get the shits and go, oh, I just want to see the back of it now, or want to see the front of it.
Yeah. But it's just the same with mannequins. Like, I've got 7 mannequins, I think, and I'm constantly turning them around or facing them forward. Like, it just drives me nuts trying to do that with frames all the time. So I just prefer sticking mannequins.
The same as, like, I've got a few of the Bianchi cars, the 1/18 scale, like the Holdens and Ford and stuff like that. So I've got like a little hoist at Mum's house where we used to live. So I used to rotate. I've got about 8 or 9 of them there, and I've got like 5 or 6 here as well. So I used to just rotate them around and change them up and just do that. So, but I think with the jumpers and stuff, like, I don't know, they just more to sit in the cupboard. Or not sit in the cupboard, they'll hang up, but I always get in trouble because they're like, didn't we have more coat hangers? Nah, I don't know what you're talking about, because I normally bring them home when no one else is there, so.
I think I went out and bought a pack, multiple packs. I think about 10 packs of coat hangers. I bought about 100 coat hangers to keep me going for a while, but yeah, that's all gone now.
How do you go storage for yourself? Do you fold or hang or?
No, I'm definitely a hanger.
Yeah.
Folding was something I originally did, but that was when I had up to maybe 10, 15 jumpers, and then from there it went hanging. Yeah. And that started originally with the old house where I had a small room which I hung the jumpers in. Now I've got the new house which I've got a man cave. Yeah. 6x7 shed to myself. Yeah. So it's still currently on hangers all throughout.
Is it as good as Chopper's shed? That's amazing what he's got set up.
His shed is my inspiration as far as getting the floors and the walls and all that done. Oh, yeah. So it'll be similar in that sort of style. His is slightly bigger than mine, unfortunately, but I'll do what I can for the size. But I actually took some ideas away from Lynchy as well. So Anthony Lynch, former guest on the show.
The port room.
The port room is amazing, and he's changed it up a fair bit, but He got some cabinets from Stratco, which is now
ones.
the lockable cabinets. So, being outside as well, it does scare me. And I've got alarms and I've got everything out there, but it still scares me. So I want just that little extra security where I can lock them away. But also, it's a bit neater and a bit cleaner. You'll open up the shed and it will just be, this is a really cool room, really nice room. And then I'm like, come and check out my jumper collection that's locked away in my cabinet as well.
It's a bit funny like that because depending on who you talk to, because obviously it's a bit of, with having the collectors pages and stuff like that, it's not different to what we know or what other people know, but then you show someone else going, that's a bit full on or it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
So it's great that obviously we can all enjoy ourselves and be out there and, I wouldn't say not victimised, if you know what I mean, but people you get treated like going, you got a pretty sweet collection, and then we know what people have spent. Like, I'm quite happy to, if someone's asking a question or stuff like that, you're going, you try and help them out, or someone goes, check out my collection, there's 3 jumpers in there, but you're just going, you got to start somewhere, and it's quite good to obviously try and help someone out, and
yeah, you're right. I mean, we all didn't start with 100 jumpers in the collection, so you have to start somewhere.
I started off with a 2004 Carlton Heritage jumper.
Oh, yeah, wow. Jeez, it's a good start.
I actually bought it. I went online and going, how good this? And I never worn it. I'm going, still got the tags on it. And then we went to the last Carlton game at Princess Park, and I fucking chased Cooter. Cooter was obviously filthy. They lost the game, and I was quite exactly the same. So we paid a bit extra to go and see him do a talk after the game, and he's like, obviously did the thing he had to do. And me being I don't know, however old I was, I chased after him, made sure he signed me jumper and stuff for me, which was how good this. And then the next day at training went and got Dennis Pagan to sign it as well. So it was quite lucky that way. And then
how long ago was that?
That would have been 2000. Well, they got the last 2005, I think. That last game at Optus.
Oh yeah.
And then that same year, I think it was 2004. Somehow where I was playing footy, a guy actually worked at the Nike shop where they were making jumpers.
Yeah.
So I think I got a couple of just Toshiba jumpers, and then I got a 2003 Port Adelaide Prison Bar jumper. That's Mr. How was it, Chikorito or Mr.
Chiquito?
Yeah, Chiquito. He wanted me jump. No shit of a lie. He messaged me every day for however long to say, was I going to sell it? And I'm going, no fucking way. He offered, I paid $25 for it, and he offered me $1,000. I'm going that. But then,
really?
Mine wasn't a player issue. Oh, it's obviously a player issue.
Spare.
No number.
Yep.
So I was pretty lucky. How good was this? So I got two Carlton jumpers, that one, and also Geelong Slazenger jumper that they had the stripes, but then they also had the bigger the bigger logo on there type thing, the old school one.
Yep.
So I've still got all those in my collection today, but then I was like, everyone goes, because that's why sometimes I'm not a big sharer, because it's like everyone goes, they see what you have, and then they not annoy you, but it's like, can I buy this? And no, I'm not selling it, or I don't want to. So that's why I'm not a big sharer. Sometimes I'll share jumpers and stuff like that, and then it's really frustrating when people go, do you want to sell this jumper? No, I don't want to sell it. Tommy sent me a message during the week. I got a Dane Beams number 9 jumper when they was it Fitzroy colours when they had the and they had the different logos across the top. I'm trying to think for the
multicultural.
That's the one. Yeah, he messaged me going, would you sell this? I'm like, no, not really. He's like, what does it got any stains? Has it got any paperwork with it? No, not really.
It doesn't matter because I'm not selling it.
No, because funny enough, I actually there's I think it's Kai Walters or Waters, however you pronounce his last name.
Yep.
Yeah, he's obviously a big Brisbane Lions fan, and then he's obviously got a good Murphy collection if you chat to him. He's helped me out a lot with some Brisbane Lions jumpers, and I think I got a Dane Zorko off him, and then I think I traded that or sold that. I think it was to Danny Deed because he's got an amazing Brisbane collection. And then I was lucky enough to get the second one, the same as, I think, as we spoke before about you lose a charm and you gain a Voss type thing. So I lost the Zorko and gained the Beams, and then obviously Beams has obviously left the Lions now, so it's kind of, I don't know, it's one of those things. I think he won a couple of best and fairest and stuff for that. So, but it just depends on like what jumpers and stuff you can get.
Yeah, that's right. He's gone on to do some amazing stuff as well. With obviously he's had some fair issues, but he's trying to make the best of it in another way, which is really good.
Because that's, I think, sometimes like everyone has their issues. So like my philosophy, I think I got off a movie one day. It was like it's not hard to make someone smile. So I said it doesn't matter how bad a day you're having. You always give someone the time of day and always put a smile on their face because you don't know when their last one was or is going to be.
Yeah.
So even on my service stickers, I always put a smiley face up the top just because it's like, it's not hard just to try and do something like that. And then, like, even I try and run a clean workshop, I'll find a bit of dust and I'll do a smiley face on it because then someone walks past and goes, "What's a smiley face there?" All right, yeah.
That's a happy piece of dust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
You just do stuff like that, just to, I don't know, just put a smile on someone's face, but then it's also, it's just one of those things. It's not hard to be nice.
No, not at all. You're right. Yeah, it's a good way to live your life. If you're living it as a miserable prick, then you're not going to have a good life. So, yeah. Best way to do it.
Well, that's why I think I bought a game at EB. Sorry, can't say JB. EB the other day, and they obviously.
So you got ripped off, in other words.
Price match, mate. Price match, JB. Tight ass, mate. We're gonna buy more jumpers. They were running. I always love Port Adelaide jumpers. They run the Starlight Foundation.
Yes.
Obviously they wore them on the weekend, and I've got a Daniel
Wait,
Pierce.
do you want to say that again? Did you say Port Adelaide?
Fremantle, man. Sorry.
Yeah, Fremantle. That's
no, because I was singing Daniel Pierce. He was Port Adelaide.
Yeah, he was.
I've got Daniel Pierce's Starlight jumper.
Yeah.
In my Fremantle collection, I was like, and that's why I was singing Port Adelaide. I'm going, I don't know why, but I meant to say Fremantle. But yeah, I was just like back into that, saying it's great to see them. Well, obviously Fremantle, obviously willing to, I don't know, don a little bit of yellow on the jumper, but it's obviously helping people out in need.
Yep. Because they're actually selling 3 or 4 of those jumpers online at the moment on auction, but
nice.
Yeah, it's pity they didn't put them all up, but they just, because they've had the same design over the last few years, that they just haven't been getting as much as they'd like.
That's what it's hard, because obviously it's not like they changed it up, or it'd be nice even if they just, I don't know, the same as like what Calden sold their soldered Livestrong and just wore yellow or something like that, but at least it would have been for, obviously, I don't know who's running Starlight. It's probably better than old Lancey boy, but here nor there.
Yeah, they did actually have a design that was a bit different. That I actually have the jumper in my possession, where they did something a little bit different. That they wanted to change it up. I think it was in 2016, but it didn't actually end up happening. It actually ended up looking like a training jumper, so they didn't end up doing it. But I'm happy to have the only one in existence in my collection, so worked out well for me. But yeah, it would be nice to see a bit of a change. Yeah, I'll definitely put up a picture. It's pretty damn cool.
But that's like, because sometimes it's the same as like, I think as I was saying to you, I brought a box of jumpers home yesterday, from work, and I didn't know what even, I knew I had, I knew a few of them that were in there, but then I laid them all out and took a picture and sent it to Hamish saying, just taking these home. And it wasn't until I realised that I pulled out I've got an Andrew Walker training jumper with a blue velvet number 1 on the back. And it wasn't until him going, "Oh, fuck, how good is that?" I said, didn't know I had it. But, it's pretty lucky to be, sometimes it's nice to see something different, going, "Oh, how cool is that?"
Yeah.
They got me on my Livestrong jumper, that's the most I've paid for a jumper is $1,000.
Yeah.
And obviously, depending on who you talk to, obviously signed jumpers, I paid $1,000 for my Livestrong jumper, and it was signed to Jack.
Yeah, right.
From Brad Fisher. So I'm going, fuck, how good. I spent $1,000 on a jumper that's not even signed to me. But then, lucky enough, I've got a good mate that he's he's a graphic artist.
Yeah.
So I actually sent he come over for a holiday because he lives in Canada. He actually took the jumper back to Canada for me. So here's me just trusting a $1,000 jumper, just going, fuck, rightio, here we go, send this off. And he took a photo of it, of the signature and stuff like that, and actually just practiced for a while on a bit of paper for me and actually wrote over the top of it. So it's actually, you can't really see, it says Jack, it says to Blake now.
Yeah,
you
right.
can kind of see like he actually done it, so it's like it looks like they're just like the pen's kind of moved a couple of times.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, fuck, how cool is that? So
it's always better when you're not trying to do it yourself, because that's when you stuff it up. But if you can trust someone else to do it.
There was no way in the world I'm spending $1,000 on a jumper again. I'm doing this. Been saying that with me Tony Hawk skateboard. That said, there was actually, funny enough, it was to Jack as well, but I got a bit of brake cleaner and rubbed it off, and just says Tony Hawk on there now. So it doesn't say, because all it says to Jack, Tony Hawk. So I just got a bit of brake cleaner, just carefully just rubbed it off and go, fuck, how good is this? Just Tony Hawk on there. Because I don't know, like depending on like who it is and stuff like that, I actually prefer jumpers to be signed.
You would? Okay.
Yeah, just depending on what they are, but like with the boys that come into work, I've got the only one I need to get to Jack Bowe's jumper, and then he said he's going to hook me up with one, but I hit him up and he said, "Oh, I'll have that look for me." So it's like, right, yeah, you probably got 30 in the jumper, but it's all right, 30 in the bag, but yeah, so I'm just waiting to see. So whoever comes into work, I just try and show them saying, "Oh, if we've got a jumper and stuff like that, they'll give us a signature."
Yeah.
Just like that. So I've got Jacob Dawson comes into work as well as another young kid. So just trying to see what I can do, because I'm not a big fan of obviously saying to someone, but if they can sign it, it's not too bad. But depending on what type of jumper it is and stuff like that as well.
When you say you prefer jumpers signed, do you prefer them to come to you unsigned and get them signed yourself, or do you prefer them to sign in general?
Yeah, no, kind of thing. Like it's nice to, show the players that they because I think when I showed Dave, or me mate showed Dave, and he was telling me about my collection, I showed Dave, and he's like, oh, fuck yeah, how sweet's that? And it was actually, he said it was nice that I got him to sign a couple of jumpers and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I've got another couple I've got to get signed by him as well. But then he was he's actually one of the nice blokes going, oh mate, give us a sec, I'll run upstairs and get you one. And I've got a good photo of I think it was not last year's Suns jumper, it was the year before, first time Gary Ablett played against the Suns.
Oh yeah. And
there's actually a good picture of Dave and him shaking hands on AFL players' pictures. And I'm going, fuck, how good is I got that jumper? Pretty up. Hey Dave, can you just write a COA out for me saying you gave me this jumper? But it's nice sometimes just to go, oh, yeah. It's nice to sometimes, I try and keep to myself like with the jumper things. Like it's not like I don't try and say, because lo and behold, you always think you've got the best collection, but then until someone else goes, oh fuck, how sweet's this one? And I'm going, fuck, it's amazing. Like I think you'd probably hate for this. Like I think two Carlton collectors, I think Richard Hopkins, he's got an amazing collection.
Yeah.
In same as Dave Bolton.
Yep.
Or Hamish as well. But there's some people, I think Matt D, he's mad Carlton as well.
Yeah, okay.
He's always I'd always want to see their collections, but then some people just like, I don't post stuff about it because obviously people have break and enters and stuff like that, and I don't blame them. Like it's going, fuck yeah, sweet this. I always just like to see, like, I think when I first joined onto the page, I go, fuck how good this, I've got 20 gold jumpers, fuck how good this, and then you see someone else, you go, I've got nothing. It's like, freaking just hang my head in shame. Because I think once I first started seeing some of the pictures, and it's like, I've seen a few of your jumpers and stuff like that. Because I think when we started, 2017, was it when you started talking?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how far it's come since then to now. There's, 10 pages, obviously, dedicated to football jumpers.
Yeah.
And then it shits me when you go into, I think I was on, not last night, night before, I was on the Gold Coast Suns auction page. They don't auction much stuff off anymore, but then you go on there and then people bought, like, I think one Gary jump went for $500. And lo and behold, he's going to be like one of the best players ever to play the game. It's like, fuck, $500 this. You're going, fuck, it's a bargain. And same as like you go through all the Carlton stuff, there was like, Cade Simpson's jumpers, exact same, $160. I think Cooter jumpers like $400. You're going, fuck, how good would that have been like then and there, let alone friggin' worth $1 trillion now?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it's come along as well. I don't know if it's to do with the whole COVID thing. Everyone's sitting at home just with a bit of extra cash from job seeker or job keeper or whatever, and just wants something to throw it at. Or
well, I think that's the same as obviously with the footy jumper, the lotto. Because I can't remember who put it up. It was this week. They're going, I think it might have been Monty. Mail day, and then all of a sudden it was I need this gone by this afternoon. I'll put it on Lotto page. I think it was someone. It was I was nearly had tears coming out my face. Going, that is so true. But like I said, it's obviously some people are fortunate enough to be able to hang on to their jumpers that they want, and obviously some people have to move theirs on, which is obviously sad. Sad in a way, because you don't want people to, like, you know how much you love your collections yourself, let alone someone like doing a bit tough.
Yeah.
Because I think there was only one time, I think one of the former Melbourne players, that Liam Hewitt fell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was obviously going...
Liam Hullett, I think.
Hullett, yeah. He was obviously going through some rough times himself, going to try and obviously jump it to 10 different people and stuff like that. And obviously it's not ideal, but you see some people obviously have some challenges in life where they... Yeah, which sucks, but you don't want to obviously take... Sometimes you're fortunate enough saying, someone needs to move something, and you pick up a jumper for $500 instead of $1,000. You're going, that's pretty fair, but you obviously don't want to rip anyone else off.
Yeah, you look at it, and when you're doing something like when you're buying something that you think might be a little bit cheap, you do look at it sometimes as why are you selling it so cheap? If they tell you they're selling it cheap because they're doing it hard, then you might try and look after it sometimes. But then sometimes it's just like, well, I'll just get rid of it, and then they don't really care.
That's the same. It's the same like with the trades and stuff. Because I'm probably more of a trader than seller. But then in saying that, you don't want someone to come back and say, hey, you've taken me for a ride type thing. Because I think that happened the other week. Or was I reading it today? Because obviously some people, not everyone gets along and stuff like that, so it's like you can't keep everyone happy. But I think it was the same as like I'll be the first person to say unless it's stained, match worn, you're getting it physically off the player. You don't know whether or not if it's because I think that happened with the guys that were selling the Cade Simpson Anzac Day jumper. Because mine has a COA sticky tape at the back saying 101, and like I know for a fact there's more than one jumper they're going to wear, but then obviously it's coming from the player where they obviously don't anticipate it's going to be coming from them, so it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, I've got plenty of COAs like that, especially the ones from AFLPA, which do say
that's
1 of 1.
I've got mine 1 of 1, and then old mate's like, this is the only jumper, and I said, fuck, funny enough, I've got one right here. I'm looking at it, and they're going, what do you mean? I said, I sent a picture, going, fair enough.
Yeah. COAs can be so up and down as well. I actually bought a jumper off Jamie Brown last week, he sent me the COA, or the photo of the COA, a long time ago, asking what I thought the value of a Michael Walters debut season jumper would be, and I said, well, man, it'd be pretty tremendous. But
that's that Purple Haze one, isn't it, the one you sent the picture of?
No, it's actually a white. Well, it's a white one. It's a Clash.
That's a 37, wasn't it?
It's a 38. Yeah.
38. No, because I think I sent you the picture asking Sunday, was this a Sonny Walters? He said, "I know," and I think you flicked that picture through to me. Yeah.
So yours was a 2011 Reece Palmer Clash.
Yeah.
This one was a 2010 Michael Walters Clash. So Michael Walters actually started in 2009. But
he was always didn't want to participate, and all of a sudden then pulled his finger out.
Yeah, that's right. Really good success story, and it's turned into one hell of a player, and all Australian, and one of the greatest Indigenous players to ever play the game.
Which is good, but it's like obviously they always say sometimes like with the Indigenous boys take a bit longer and stuff like that, but then it's like they don't eat properly or they don't exercise. Because I think I read somewhere this week, or might have been last week, Carlton might be chasing Jared Pickett again.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I was like, that's pretty interesting, because I think West Coast nearly give him a trial, or nearly give him a contract end of last year or start of this year or something like that, just be the supplementary player.
Yep.
Which is obviously good to see, and that can try and sort stuff out and things like that. So.
Yeah, so COAs don't really mean a lot, unfortunately, all the times, because this COA said it was debut season, which he obviously started in 2009, and that jumper was definitely from 2010. So,
Yeah.
like I say, unless you get it direct from players, sometimes it's not always that easy to know. I mean, obviously, I just picked up a Luke Ryan Indigenous jumper from last weekend, so I'm fine with that.
That one looks more a Bali one, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
With the heat press sponsor on the back like Carlton.
Yeah, I mean, they don't heat press anything unless you're Carlton, so.
Yeah. I think they're getting better, but.
Yeah. Actually, amazing that the heat press on these. I don't know if they're heat sealed or whatever it is, but looking at it,
well, because if you have a look, Carlton's last year they are heat pressed, but it's a different material.
Yeah,
it's a different
like a rubber material.
Yeah, it's like they used to have back in the day. Because it'd be interesting to see that. I was nearly going to buy that Sutcliffe jumper at number 50. I was tossed up going, fuck, that's obviously. I did think about it, going, oh no, I probably shouldn't, because I wanted to get obviously Aboriginal or Indigenous Carlton jumper from the weekend.
Yep.
So I was like, oh no, I better not spend too much money. But then like the numbers on the Carlton ones are more like a rubbery thing. Same as obviously the sponsors and stuff like that. But I think Nike dropped the ball. But then I think I was talking to Reese, and he said that the Collingwood girls team has signed Nike.
They have.
Apparently they might, because obviously they're IOC, they might, Collingwood might be going Nike as well.
Yeah, I have had that thought as well, and that's similar thoughts. So it would be very interesting to see. Carlton were a big team, big club in Australia. I don't know whether they would then, perceive Collingwood to be an even bigger club. I guess technically.
No, Carlton actually signed the richest sporting manufacturing deal in Australia when they signed Puma.
There you go. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was, I think, because I used to write and obviously that fucking real weird shit like that, but I was like, oh, something different.
Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Collingwood do with Nike, what Nike do with Collingwood, if that does actually happen. Whether they're able to get the jumpers out a lot quicker than they did with Carlton, because I know the issue with Carlton was Carlton had to put in their orders super early. Yeah. Therefore, they couldn't give them exactly the numbers and the sponsors and all that combination early enough.
Black and white's a lot harder than navy blue, but so I've got to admit that. Bit more design on the coloured jumpers.
So, all right, I'm gonna ask the question now that Carlton with Puma. What's your thoughts on Puma as a manufacturer?
Well, actually, I do. I've actually because I've got actually a few Pumas, because I've got a Sam Mitchell back in the day when Hawthorn was sponsored by him, and that was just, and I was saying as Brisbane, I think I got an old, I might have been like Josh Drummond or something, like an older Puma one as well.
Yeah.
The same as like, they used to go like real fluffy on the front, like when they got washed and stuff. Oh, hang on. I'll go you one, but hang on. Like, no word of a lie. I'll show you. I brought this home last night.
Here we go. We're digging deep here. Here's the box.
Yeah, so this one's pretty cool. This one's a, can't remember, hang on, I'll put it before for you. So there's that one.
It's Lions trainer.
Lions, yeah.
Majestic trainer.
Yeah, 25, but then I haven't seen another one of these yet.
Yeah, okay.
It's reversible.
The reversible, yeah, with the yellow and blue on the other side.
Yeah, but then really cool. I was only looking because I've got my other jumpers. So I've got no word of a lie. I've just got on the Carlton one. Someone's probably going to hang me because they're on the floor. So there's me Cooter that we sent Cooter a picture for. There's that one.
That's cool.
And then here's me so my Andrew Walker training jumper.
This is a box of goodies, this one.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan. This is just obviously Puma heritage jumper. So I've got all 4 years of the Essendon heritage jumpers, and they shit me because I don't know if you can see it or not. They pull up fucking. Yep. That just shits me. It's in the middle of fucking thing. So actually, I'm not a big fan of the Puma jumpers back in the day, but then I've got I was lucky enough, I've got a Corey Ellis Madeline jumper.
Oh, yeah?
From not last year before. And the coolest thing is, it's actually, they've got drawings inside the jumper.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably one of the most, like, I'm a Carlton man. It's probably the most amazing jumper I think I've got in my collection. That's not significant, I don't know, game or jumper and all that, but it was actually they did notes and actually wrote and printed them inside the jumper, which was just like pretty cool. So the players actually, I don't know, got to see a bit about it as well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping, I hope Carlton can do some of this, because I think I've got a few of the Carlton jumpers that they've got on the inside of the jumper. They've got something printed in there like
IMCFC or something like that.
Yeah, I am Carlton. That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've got so one of me Richmond jumpers upstairs actually got the pictures and stuff on there. That's pretty sweet to have in the collection, something different. So
just for my own personal satisfaction, what's your favourite Freo jumper in your collection?
Oh no, I've actually got I'm a big fan of the 25. Obviously, when they did the diff like the 25 actually on the jumper, that was something different. Like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So that was round 1 last year, 2019, where they replaced the chevrons.
Yeah, because it shit me because you couldn't get one until the end of the year. I was like, oh fuck, I'm really hanging on. I just want to, mate. I think I text you going, I want one of those jumpers just because it was something different. And,
well, the funny thing about that was they actually did auction them, but I was actually in America at the time, so I didn't have
getting too much other WDE stuff.
Well, so I was kind of lucky when I got back. Obviously, my mate Craig said, I just want to let you know that someone didn't pay for their Rory Lobb match worn from 25 years.
Yeah.
Did you want it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
throw money at him.
So
finishes.
I think I only paid $160 or something like that for it. So, and that was Rory Lobb's first game at Freo. So, I mean, I thought that was fantastic. Match worn, 25-year, tremendous game. It was great for us. We won by 60, 70 points, which won't happen for a long time again now. But, I was stoked with that. And then end of the year came and I was able to luckily get you a few at the end of season start. I got what have I got now? I've got 2 of the young kids' names because you're like, oh, this kid's going to be a gun. I'm like, yeah, fuck, sweet. So I'm like, oh, no worries. But like, I'd always like to think, because I think last year when I went to Suns one, I think I got you said, oh, you wanted ranking jumping. Going, oh, sweet, no worries. If we can sort something out, like, whatever. Like, if you know, you get what you want yourself, and then going, oh, hey, I can find this, no worries. And it's like, Yeah, that's right. You bought the jumpers for me. So this is what the collecting hobby's really about, isn't it? So you went and bought these jumpers from this sale. I told you what I'd be interested in. You bought them. You just sent them to me, no questions asked, no money handed over it either. Yeah. So, and then when the Freo sale came up, I knew exactly what you wanted, and I thought, gee, I've got to get you a really good one though. So Chera. Chera's going to be that.
Yeah, I think I ended up sending you a pair of Peter Wright shorts too. Didn't you get that?
Yeah, got those. Yeah.
And it was like, sometimes it's stuff like that. You're going, oh, it's not too bad. Like I'm pretty lucky because I think I did that with Hamish last year, because obviously they live in Melbourne, and I'm going, oh, I get the shits because I can't go to the Carlton shop. He's like, mate, I just walked in the Carlton shop, would not believe it. They got these jumpers here. What do you want to do? I'm going, fuck, you shit me. And I'm going, this is just shit, because because I've been in the Carlton shop a few times when it was obviously back when it was like the little Carlton shop. I think we walked in one day and Ryan Houlihan's in there going, oh my God, there's Ryan Houlihan. And, but he's got a few connections and stuff like that. So he's gotten some real cracking jumpers and stuff like that. Going, you're a bastard. But, Ben saying that I've got some stuff he wants. Like, I think, another one of the memorabilia is I've got a pair of, match-worn Dan Carter boots. Obviously, he's one of the best ever fly halves in rugby union. Mm-hmm. I've got a pair of match-worn boots off him that Hamish wants real bad. Mm-hmm. I'll probably never give him up, but he's going to know that.
He's got a fair collection of Dan Carter stuff as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Like, he showed me, but it's the same as like yourself. Like, you find something that, like, Pavlich is like one of the best ever, like, centre-half forwards to ever play the game. I know I'd class him as a more centre-half forward than midfielder and stuff like that, but depending on who you go with and stuff. But I just remember, like, growing up as a kid, you'd always see the 29 just up, getting the footy, and I always remember him wearing his white Predators, and I'm like, oh, they came up in an auction. I think it was like a Facebook page, and I really want them type thing. And then the same for you, like, you're a big Freo supporter and stuff. They're going, oh, I kind of wish hey mate, do you want these? But then, like, oh no, I won't never get another pair. And it's like, oh, what do you do? But then obviously we've been back and forth, and you end up getting a pair that's been embroidered to him.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know why they were, but yeah, they're embroidered with his initials and his number. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then stuff like that is pretty cool. Like I think I got offered a pair of. Who did I get offered a pair of? I think Kai offered me a pair of Mark Murphy boots, and I kind of thought, it was more just you need to know, like, then and there, can you spend $400 on a pair of footy boots? And I'm like, it's pretty hard to do. Like, sometimes, like, you miss out on some things, but then, like, I got a pair of, I think I got the pair of Dane Zorko X-Blades he wore when they played over in Subiaco.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gave to a person in the crowd, and I think I bought them off that person type thing, just saying, a pair of Dane Zorkos. But then it's like but then in saying that, I don't have much of it. That doesn't pull on the heartstrings like obviously the Predators from Pav and stuff like that. But
it's funny you mentioned the Mark Murphy boots, because I don't know if you remember this, but a few years ago now, I was contacted, I don't know how or why, but I was contacted by a text message.
I've still got them in my collection.
I was contacted by a great man named Paddy Cripps, who actually is from the same town as half my family. So I don't know how he's got in contact with me exactly, but might have something to do with my family. It all spiraled from there, where I was managed to pick up his Indigenous jumper from that year. I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
And they basically
the one you should have held on to.
Yeah, which I was stupid and I didn't. But again, Hamish messaged me and said, "Hey man, I love that jumper." Yeah. And I just felt guilty and had to sell it to him. But wish I did keep it. But yeah, so it's same like that, where they just said, "Oh, yeah, I've got all this stuff, a bag full of stuff. If you want it all, you can have it for this much." And I didn't have the money to buy it all, but I knew you'd be interested, so I messaged you, "Hey, do you want this stuff?"
I think I bought I think I got a pair of Murph boots out of it. Then I also got a pair of I think I had a few training jumpers, few shirts and stuff like that, and a pair of track pants and shorts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then dickhead me goes, to my sister goes, you like I think it might have been because she's just got so I've got an older sister, she's 2 years difference. I mean, she's a big Carlton she's a Carlton fan, she's not as big as me. And then dickhead me goes, you wear track pants, don't you? Yeah. He's like, fuck, how good are these? Going, fuck, rightio. So it's like, I'm like, the amount of stuff I've given away like this or this, it's like, fuck. I'm going to stop telling people this stuff. So I was like, this is fuck. So gave away I've given away some jump, or not, I don't think I've given away jumpers yet, but I've given away a couple of, Collingwood jumpers.
Yeah.
Because one of me mates, his old boys, one goal of the century is actually Phil Manassa.
Yeah.
So, funny enough, I got him a Chris Dawes 31 and gave it to him, just going, here's a jumper here's your jumper from your old. And then, funny enough, like through playing footy myself, one of me good mates, his best mates with Dawes. I'm going, fuck, how good it'd be to have a Dawes jumper. I could have got it signed by him. I'm like, fuck. But what do you do?
Yeah.
All
right, man. So go on.
No, actually, he actually gave me a Melbourne jumper that's signed by Dawsey, but it's got a no GPS, but it's got a heat press 6 on it. But then it's a bit different than that. Yeah. So I don't know if they could have been like a training jumper or what, I don't know. But
yeah.
But the funny thing was, I went out on the piss with them one night, and here's Jack Anthony at the front of the taxi, and I'm in the taxi with Dawsey. He's banging on the window. Where's your mirror? Where's your medal, Jack? Because obviously they were at Collingwood together, and Chris Dawes took Jack Anthony's spot in the team that year. So he's banging on the door going, "Where's your medal, Jack?" It's quite funny.
That's rough.
What do you do? It's fucking hilarious.
Alright, so my computer's actually about to die, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to ask you one last question. Maybe difficult, but I reckon you've got a good answer for me. What's your number one jumper in your collection?
How do I know you'd ask this? I actually bought one a couple of weeks ago. I actually bought I think it's 2014 members round jersey at Cade Simpson's.
Yeah, okay.
So I bought that off old mate in Melbourne, because I got a picture sent to me going, Cade's offloading all his milestone jumpers, and going, righty, No, she picture of just jumpers upon jumpers upon jumpers. And I'm like, fuck. And I just said, old mate, going, I'll give you $300 for it. And he's like, come on, mate, don't be so stupid. I'm going, it's worth a try. So I ended up paying $750 for it, but it was, it was nice to get another Cade Simpson jumper. So now I've got, 3 in the collection now.
Yep.
But then in saying that, I know someone's got a fucking, a more amazing jumper than what I bought, but I'm like, I can't justify spending how much money on that jumper that I don't.
I think I know what you're talking about as well.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. But, no, it was, yeah. I don't know, like sometimes, like, I think I'd probably most of my Calden jumpers, I wouldn't praise like a high, I don't know, probably not higher than the other, but I've got a couple of Cooter jumpers. I've got, a few Simpsons. I've got no Murphys or Judds, which I'd love. I'd love it for bowler, but.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't have a Cripps jumper, but I want to kind of get one of those, but then it's in some, I think sometimes I'm more more quantity over quality, because I've got a few jumpers that I've got. I think my light blue M&M jumper is number 47, but I was like, I have to get a light blue jumper.
Yeah.
But then saying that, then I've got a grey jumper that's a Levi Casbolt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's different like this, but it's like, it's one of those things. It's not too bad. It's not the end of the world, but what do you do?
That's it. But
I wanted to say one other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how this has happened, but even the same for you, like, I don't even know what we even got in contact down the like years and years ago. Like, that's why I just wondering, just like having the conversation now. It's like, how, like, obviously it's come a long way in the 3 years texting you. But it's been amazing. It's going it's gone from, hey, jumpers, going, I've got a couple, and you're like, fuck, how good this jumper, going, rightio. It's obviously you meet 1 or 2 people and stuff like that, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But, obviously once Co is finished, I'm all 4 of obviously trying to organise like a day in meet everyone.
Yeah.
Put a face to the name and stuff. They're going, this is, I think it's the first time we've ever Skyped, but like, it's kind of, you see people on Facebook and stuff like that, like if you're lucky enough to be friends with them and stuff, that going, it's pretty cool. And then it's like, you imagine walking in your room, you'd have like purple everything, and like you think you can't, you're looking at, like I think I've seen your picture going, here's all my son's jumpers, and there's like, I don't know, 40 or 50 jumpers just hanging there, going, that's pretty cool. And then it's like, it's nice to actually have like a little community and stuff like that, where you'd like to think that the good outweighs the bad with everyone, because obviously everyone's built up a rapport now. Like, I think I've dealt with you probably, 15, 20 times with jumpers, and the same with like, if people don't know, they say, talk to this person if you trust them or not, or whatever you need to do. And
that's right. I would say easily I talk to, people who collect jumpers or that I just deal with through social media or Facebook or whatever far more often than I do with my, most of my friends and family. So yeah, it would definitely be good to be able to. Sorry, man, go on.
Because that's where it's hard, because they don't get what we do.
No, they definitely don't.
Because if I said to me, I'll go saying, hey, I just spent $500 on an Indigenous jumper. You fucking what?
And that would be where my laptop died. What a way to finish it with another big F-bomb from Blake. Apologies to anyone out there who maybe wasn't prepared. I tried to warn you for all the F-bombs, but it wouldn't be an interview with Blake without a few F-bombs, so you got to forgive him. But no, I had a great time having a chat to Blake. It was great. I had a lot of fun. Actually, that interview was done with a whole total of about 30 minutes notice. So it was a quick, hey mate, you ready for a chat? Yep, I'll do it. We'll do it today. Let's do it within 30 minutes, And that was it. It was on. So sure, you could probably tell that there was no real format to that episode. It was just 2 mates having a chat. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. And thanks a lot, Blake, for coming on. I really appreciate it again. So let's get into some of the happenings now. So we'll talk about some of the new manufacturers now for 2021. There's only one really that I can really tell you about. It's been a bit of a rumor for a little while now, but it has caught some legs. There's actually been a leaked photo go around on the internet, as it would. So West Coast Eagles are the ones in question at the moment, and it's a very, very strong rumor. And as a matter of fact, the photo that has leaked does look very legitimate. And so I will post that up on the page because it is just a rumor, so I'm not exactly giving away anything. But yeah, I'll post it up on the page for you to have a look at. So West Coast Eagles, obviously with ISC taking a back seat from the AFL next year, apart from one club. So technically they will still be in the AFL. However, they won't be branding their jumpers with ISC. So it's only going to have the manufacturer, well, it'll actually have somebody else's manufacturer logo on there, I believe. But it'll also have the sponsor, as it is this year, on the Gold Coast jumpers. They have the sponsor in the middle of the jumper. And I believe it's actually going to be St Kilda who will be wearing ISC, technically, jumpers next year. And they are believed to be the only club. And whether or not that changes in the meantime is still to be seen. But yeah, ISC are removing themselves, as we've mentioned before. And West Coast being one of the clubs that wears ISC, they are heavily rumoured to be going with a rather unknown brand, especially in the world of AFL, a brand named Castore. So you probably haven't heard of them at all unless you're a tennis fan, because they are actually known for their tennis apparel. And Andy Murray is a wearer of Castore brand. So yeah, that's definitely a different one. It's out there, but I think it's definitely going to happen, as the rumours are quite strong, and even some sources quite close to that club have not confirmed nor denied, but they are saying that yes, it does look legitimate as far as that leaked photo goes. So I'll get the leaked photo up for you to all have a look at, and you can decide for yourselves. And I'll be honest, the jumper doesn't really look any different to what they're currently wearing. So just a slight logo change. We'll have to wait and see what sort of material obviously it's going to be, and exactly how it will look on a new template, if it is indeed a new template, because from what I can tell, it doesn't really look like a new template. But yeah, have a look for yourselves and see what you think. I'm still sworn to secrecy as far as Freo goes, so anyone that has been messaging me quite a lot about trying to find out who Fremantle are going with, I am sworn to secrecy. I'm sorry. No doubt you'll find out very, very soon, and I'm semi-excited for you all to find out. I'm still on the fence about that one, but we'll have to wait and see. The Macron rumours for Port Adelaide have seemed to have cooled down a little bit. I don't know really where the rumours started. It may have just been something started on forums, but not something I've really seen heat up at all. So I don't know whether that's true or not, as far as Macron going with Port Adelaide for next season. Again, it's just going to be something real interesting that we're just going to have to sit back and wait and see. It's going to be somewhat exciting, because obviously being what we all do and what we collect in the jumper world, manufacturers can make it makes a make and break really on what we're actually going to get on field and what we can get in our collection. Always good to see something different, and quite often it's quite nice to see new sponsor combinations and different colours and things like that. Something that sounds quite boring to some people, but quite exciting for us. So yeah, I'm excited to sit back and see what happens, and hopefully we get some really, really cool jumpers out of it. So now, speaking of really cool jumpers, I'm going to get into what I picked up since the last episode. Again, I'm just going to continue on the 2020 for me. As far as collecting goes, has been fantastic. I've picked up some absolutely incredible jumpers. Obviously, it's not been as great for everybody out there, but can only go off what it's been like for me. And yeah, for me, it's been fantastic as far as picking up some great stuff. So we'll just go through what I got since the last episode. We'll start with a 2018 Matthew Taberner Indigenous player issue jumper. Taberner, one of those players that's frustrated the absolute hell out of us for a long time now. He's been on our list for about 8 years. He's just been awfully hard to watch at times, but he has shown potential in the last couple of years, and then he got injured last year when he was really starting to show something, and it didn't feel like it was ever going to happen for him. And then this year he's played really, really good football. So it's great to see, and he's up there in the Coleman medal race, which is great. No, he's obviously not going to win it, but no, it's just great to see him really finally getting some reward for all the effort he's put in, and us fans finally getting to enjoy the fruits of all that labour. Next one I got was the jumper I had 3 years ago. Now, this is the first time I've actively actually chased down a jumper that I used to own to get it back. Reason for that being is this player, I have not ever seen another Fremantle jumper of this player ever that I've ever been collecting. And I've never seen anyone actually own one. Not just for sale, but not even anyone own one. So I do know that this particular player doesn't actually, well, he did actually collect his gear. And as far as I'm aware, he just never gave it up. So to have something of his in the collection is a must, and the fact that I gave it up 3 years ago and I sold it for around about $200, I think it was $180 actually, because I think he bargained me down a little bit, kind of made me sick to look back on. But I was able to go through my messages on Messenger and find out exactly who it was that I sold it to. And I thought, why not? I'll throw the question out there and see what happens. I just sent this guy a message and said, hey man, I know that I sold you this jumper a few years ago. I was wondering if there's any chance if you wanted to sell it potentially in the future, if you wouldn't mind possibly selling it to me or even trading it for something even better. And straight away he messaged me back and said, hey man, yeah, absolutely. It belongs in your collection. So I'll be more than happy to organise a trade. And he was more than fair. I don't think he was fair because I think he screwed himself quite a bit. I was more than happy to give him way overs for the jumper because it is tremendous. Can't even speak English today. But he was very, very, very giving, and I can't thank him enough for that. So Adam Dolby is the guy out there, and what a bloke he is, because for this jumper he could have asked the world for it, really. And I probably would have had to give it to him because I have to have it in the back of my collection. So I'll get to what it is. It's a 1999/2000, so it would have been a jumper that they wore in 1999 and also the start of 2000 because it has the old AFL logo, but it has also got a sewn-on Alenta Gas patch, which is what they wore in 2000. So Fremantle, of course. It is Tony Modger's training jumper. Now, yeah, so I've never actually seen another Tony Modger jumper for Fremantle, ever. So, yeah, I'm absolutely stoked that he was just a great bloke and was able to allow us to come up with a trade that would get this jumper back in my collection. So, again, huge shout out to Adam Dolby. Really, really appreciate it, mate. You've done a great thing by me and I'll never forget it. Another great trade that I actually organised, which was with Bradley Collis. So, Bradley, big shout out to you as well. He actually really wanted a first game Gold Coast Suns jumper, which was actually signed, and I kind of had one already. But I almost prefer jumpers unsigned, rather, when it's special jumpers like that. So he had one unsigned that he wanted to trade for my signed one. So we organised a trade, and I come out real happy with that one as well, because I ended up getting Tom Lynch. So yes, Richmond's Tom Lynch. I got his jumper. So he didn't play in that game, but so it is a player issue. It is signed on the back by him, and number 46. So a lot of you probably don't remember him actually being number 46, but yes, he started number 46 for 1 year. So yeah, I was absolutely stoked to pick up that one for myself, and he got Brandon Matera's first game jumper. He actually played in that game, so I'm not too sure. It could actually be a match worn. It didn't look exactly new, so he may have actually got a match worn from that jumper, which will be huge. That game, rather. So yeah, thank you again for Bradley. I really appreciate it, and yeah, love that jumper. It's really, really nice. Next one I picked up was a 2010 Michael Walters Fremantle Dockers Clash match-worn signed jumper. Interesting one, this one. This one was actually James Brown sold me this one, so thank you, James. Not the singer. The gentleman who is a Brisbane supporter sold me this jumper. Again, thank you, James. So this one he actually inquired to me about a while ago, asking what the value of a debut season match-worn Michael Walters jumper would be. And I said, that'd be fantastic. It'd be great value. And also I'd be interested because I actually have Michael Walters' second ever jumper that he ever wore in the AFL, which is the home one from 2009. So it'd be really cool to have the first one as well that he ever wore. So he sent me a photo of it, and unfortunately I let him know straight away that the jumper is actually from 2010, so it's his second season jumper, even though the COA did have debut season on it. So it's just another example of you can't always trust a COA, but yeah, knowing what it is, when you look at it straight away, you know what it is. It also helps. So COA doesn't always give you the right answer, but yeah, it is pretty obvious sometimes to some people what something is. So there are experts out there you can ask for help. So don't always trust COAs. Even if you do have one, it's always worth asking a question as well. So again, thank you to James for that one. A big one that I picked up, which I'm stoked and kind of shocked that it went like this. So our Indigenous jumpers last year, Fremantle Indigenous jumpers last year, they only sold a handful of them. And they didn't go for too much money. I think maybe $1,000 was a five, or maybe not even gone that high. I think maybe $750 was perhaps the highest. So it was quite a shock to see this year's ones go for quite high. I think the lowest went for around about $400 to $450, which I know you're probably thinking some clubs out there, wow, I wish my jumpers would go that cheap, when you'd be laughing. But, like I said, Fremantle jumpers, aren't really known to go quite that high frequently. So it was a bit of a shock to see some of these jumpers go rather high, and I really wanted David Mundy's jumper. I would continue my collection of Barra. But his jumper went for over $1,100, and I really, really wanted to get Luke Ryan's jumper. And he had an absolutely amazing game that day. He had a breakout game. I've been saying for a while now, if you listen back to one of my original podcasts, you would have heard me say that I think that Luke Ryan is going to be a gun for us, an absolute superstar. And he's absolutely showing that this year. If he's not named All-Australian, I think it would be an absolute travesty. I think he's been the best defender in the game all year across the entire AFL. He's been an absolute rock, and he's not a big man. He's quite a short guy, but he's been playing well outside of his weight range and his height range, and he's very, very, very rarely been beaten. So he won the medal for the best player on ground that day, which was the Goods O'Loughlin medal. Against Sydney it was. So it was the first time that a non-Sydney team has actually won the Marngrook Trophy. I think it's Marngrook Trophy, but yeah, it was Marngrook. I believe it is Marngrook Trophy, yes. And a Goods O'Loughlin medal went to Luke Ryan, so he's the first one non-Swans player to actually win it. So, yeah, awesome to see. He had 28 possessions, had a big game. And if you've not seen the design, then you need to look at it, because it's absolutely beautiful. I picked that one up for $935. So, yeah, it's expensive, but had to have it, and it did come with a COA, but it didn't come signed. Now, obviously, COVID was a big issue with that. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen as far as signing jumpers, and any sort of unwashed will go in future. I don't know how that's going to work, and it's going to be interesting viewing. Now, like I said, if you haven't seen the design, it's absolutely fantastic. You should do yourself a favour and have a look at it. But also, a couple of weeks later, this was a complete surprise to me. I didn't know it was a thing happening at all until I think probably a few days before the game. I was informed that they were going to be wearing another version of that Indigenous jumper. So it wore a complete inverted colours of that jumper. So you can just turn it around and went from white on purple. And the design obviously is still the same, but the colourway that it used, I think, made this design even better. And I think a lot of people actually agree with me, because I put a post up on the page that said the same thing, and yeah, a lot of people agreed, and I think it's beautiful. I still believe the GWS had the best Indigenous jumper this year. It's absolutely beautiful. I now have seen Port Adelaide's as well, a lot closer and in more detail. I think that is absolutely beautiful. So they did very, very well there. Port Adelaide very rarely have a hiccup when it comes to design, so they're doing great things over there. There was a few that I didn't really rate, mostly because they just reused previous ones, so that was a little bit disappointing. But obviously, in the world of COVID, it probably wasn't all that easy to get these jumpers and get them done and get them made on time. So actually, in that, St Kilda, so same week, I believe, the week of the game, Paddy Wright actually did an interview where they were asking him about the Indigenous jumpers and how excited he was to wear them on the field. And he mentioned that he was really disappointed because the club wouldn't actually be wearing an Indigenous jumper on the day. Reason being is they couldn't get the jumpers out from ISC on time, so they didn't have them. And he was really disappointed. He said they would be wearing the Indigenous coloured socks, but he said it would be really exciting to wear the jumper, and he was quite disappointed that they wouldn't be able to do so. Roll forward a few days, and lo and behold, they actually had the jumpers on the game day. So, not sure exactly what happened there, whether someone heard his interview and thought, we've let somebody down here, we've got to get them done and get them out. So, whoever managed to do that, congratulations, because it would have been disappointing for one club to not have the Indigenous jumper for the year. But well done to the Saints to be able to do that, and well done to get it on the field. And it was a great looking jumper as well, so they did very, very well. There wasn't too many jumpers that I didn't like this year. The Hawks had a great one. GWS, as I mentioned, had a great one. Port was a great one. Yeah, I think everyone did really, really well. So hard year to do something special, but they've done it well. I think the round was great as well. It has been tremendous football, so we really can't complain with the level of football that we've had all year. I'm off on a ramble. Let's bring it back. So we'll go back to what it was that I picked up in the last couple of months. These ones just fell in my lap, and wow, I'm stoked to be able to pick these up because I had some home and away jumpers for Freo last year, but they weren't big name players. So to pick these ones up is huge. I'm really stoked. Yet again, the same bloke that manages to help me out all the time picking up these stuff. I couldn't thank him enough. I hope he's listening to this episode because, what he does to me all the time, it can't be explained with how much I appreciate it. So, I got a 2019, they're all 2019, let's go to that. First one will be a Luke Ryan home jumper. So he was still number 38 last year, but is the number 38 Luke Ryan. I also picked up Aaron Sandland's Clash jumper from last year, so obviously great to have that because it was his last season in the AFL. And I picked up 2 Barras, which was great because I didn't have a home and an away, or didn't have either. Of his jumpers last year, I did have his Indigenous and a couple others, but to pick up the home and away as well, I think they might have even completed his collection last year, except for Starlight. Didn't get Starlight, but so home and away Barras as well. So David Mundy, it's great to add those. It takes me to over 40 jumpers of David Mundy's in my collection, so obviously anytime I can add some Dave Mundy in my collection is a good day. And that is it. I do have one coming, which I'm very excited to show up, but that'll have to be on the next episode, or we'll let you know what that is. Well, sorry, I have 2. You'll hear about one of them shortly. Second one, you're going to have to wait for the next episode, or join the page. Watch the page, so the Player Issue Podcast Facebook page. Jump on there, and I will let you know what that jumper is. I will chuck it up, and you can have a look at it. But that otherwise is it. So that's all my pickups. Let's jump on to eBay now. So, the world of eBay obviously has been somewhere that we can pick up jumpers that people may have had lying around, or just other collectors want to get rid of. But it's now looking like somebody is taking the piss. I know a lot of you have had to deal with this already. I've had to deal with it myself. I don't know whether I was the first one to get done or not, but so selling jumpers on there, it seems to become a lot harder now, and that's because somebody doesn't have a life. I put up a Buddy Franklin Sydney Swans warm-up top, and it was for bidding. So this is usually for bidding auctions that they're doing this. The bidding went crazy, and it went a lot higher than I expected, and I wasn't too sure what was going to happen. Well, anyway, next morning I got a very explicit, rude message. Basically, they're never going to pay for the jumper anyway, and I couldn't do anything about it. eBay basically didn't want to have anything to do with it. They're kind of useless, I'll be honest. eBay help, eBay support. I told them, sent them messages, showed them the screenshots that they basically just said, oh yeah, that's not very nice, but we're just going to send them a warning. Well, they're not going to care about that, let's be honest. They're just out to ruin everybody's day. And that's exactly what seems to be happening, because after that, it seemed to pop up that just about everybody was getting this done to them, and you'll probably see it now. You probably think that something going on with a lot of people's jumpers because they're continuously just popping up for bid, even though they have sold previously. Problem is that these people are bidding on these jumpers with no intention of buying them. They're also getting positive feedback, but that's because you can't leave negative feedback as a seller for a buyer. So every time people are getting on there to leave feedback as a negative, they're writing negative things. However, it's leaving a positive feedback. So it looks like they have positive feedback. Therefore, they can't be blocked from bidding on your items as a zero bidder. Yeah, it's very complicated, but so you're going to have to look out for these people. Pestev-25 is one of them, and the other one being Heath Robbo. Yeah, just watch out for them. Chances are they're probably listening to this show right now, and if they are, well, yeah, there you go. There's your 15 minutes of fame. Hopefully this is what you're after, what you're looking for, and hopefully you can go on and live an absolutely wonderful life now, knowing that you've ruined everybody's time. Really, that's all you're getting out of it. It's just the kick out of ruining people's time, because it's not really going to change anything for any of us. We're still going to go on and do what we do and collect and sell and whatever. You're just going to waste our time, and doesn't really matter in the end, does it? But you are a sad sack of human being. It's really unfortunate that that's what you get your kick on. So anyway, keep your eye out for those guys, and if you're getting any bids from them, just cancel the auction straight away and block them as buyers, block them as bidders on your eBay. You can do that. Just look it up so you can get rid of them and not have them deal with any of your items, because they're bad news and they'll just waste your time. Also, if you do get a message from them, I suggest you probably just don't even bother opening it, because it's going to be something rather rude, explicit, and it's just not worth wasting your time or your energy on. So yeah, don't even bother opening it and just report it straight to eBay, even though they're not going to do anything about it. But hey, enough of us whinging, you never know. So now I'm going to go through the eBay sales that I saw. Like I mentioned, obviously the sales that were being compromised by the gentleman previously mentioned. I've gone through and I've tried to delete as many of those as I possibly could out of that, because obviously it'll be going forever, and they're obviously not legitimate sales. These ones I believe to be legitimate sales, so we'll go through them. There are still quite a few. 2 months worth of trading on eBay, it just blows up. And I'm not even talking about this is all the jumpers. This is just the ones that I thought were worth noting. There's some really great jumpers. So we'll go through really quickly. First one is a Brennan Goddard. Looks like 2015 possibly. $208. Nick Nat Nui. It's probably 2015. Probably even earlier than that actually. Maybe 2013. Actually, yes, it's 2013. Apologies. Nick Nat Clash went for $370. Daniel Kerr, 2008, went for $217. Daniel Kerr being West Coast. For those of you who don't remember, you should. Liam Jones, Clash Carlton jumper, went for $300. Now I was really excited to actually bid on this one, but I forgot about the end of the auction, so more for me. Congratulations to whoever won that one. It was in Richmond Tigers, number 45. Looks to be a late 90s, an early 2000s jumper. Went for $187.50. There has been a few Nick Rewalt 2017 small jumpers been floating around recently. I believe there were manufacturing errors. A set of Nick Rewalt jumpers were made up, but they were all made up in size small. But he unfortunately didn't wear a size small. He wore a size large, as most Saints collectors would be aware of. So yeah, they've been doing a bit of rounds. Whether or not they're collectible is up to the individual who wants to buy them. So anyway, there's another one here that is actually legitimate. It was a large, and it was an MRV. So Matty Rewalt's Vision. So, perfect jumper to get for that anyway. And it went for $355. Obviously only a player issue, but yeah, still a tremendous jumper to have in your collection. A Carlton Sam Jacobs 2010 player issue went for $182.50. A Bailey Dale match worn Western Bulldogs run out top went for $90. A Brent Harvey 400 games player issue went for $172.55. Probably a bit of a bargain, to be honest. So these special jumpers, they're good to pick up because in future they're probably worth a bit of money. A Starlight Alex Silvani Fremantle Dockers player issue went for $69. Yeah, a bit of a bargain there, but as I mentioned, Freo jumpers don't always go that high. But yeah, you can pick yourself up a good bargain. Obviously, Silvani also played for Collingwood, so I wonder if that went to a Collingwood supporter. Collingwood, what am I saying? Went for Carlton, so I wonder if they went to a Carlton supporter. Now we got a 2000, number 22, which I believe was old Johnny Barnes. Johnny Barnes. Is that something? Yeah, John Barnes. I reckon that's probably right, actually. You forget sometimes that a guy named John Barnes played AFL football. But yeah, he still played for Geelong, which obviously was mostly where I remember him from. But this one was from 2000 and went for $405. Good pickup, I reckon. Number 24 could be a Joe Mercedes. I haven't really looked into it, but that one went for $220.50. An Anthony Rock Hawks jumper went for $193.50. Another one I was considering jumping on, but it went just a little bit out of what I was willing to spend. I'm kind of glad I did now because Anthony Rock is shipped out of Fremantle now, so he's no longer an assistant at Fremantle. But he was a good bloke, so yeah, still would have been a nice jumper to pick up. A match worn Richmond 2017 Anzac Day at sign jumper went for $1,700. Yeah, a lot of money there for Richmond supporters for sure. Not cheap to collect your jumpers, especially any Jack Rewalts. Another Richmond jumper, Chris Newman. Great player for the Tigers for a long time. Went for $165.50. A Brisbane long sleeve 1999. These things are beautiful. Gorgeous designs, and I was surprised to see that someone put a bid on this in the first day, and it won because it was a $500 bid. So well done to the bidder on that one. I actually owned one of these jumpers a few years ago, and I kind of wish I still had it. The only reason I don't is because it was completely covered in oil when I picked it up, and I've not seen another one since. So this one would have been a great pickup, but yeah, I wasn't really willing to spend $500 on a no-name player, unfortunately. But no, it is a gorgeous design. The colours on those jumpers were absolutely magnificent. And then we had a 2010 Pies jumper, and number 46. That went for $200. That was completely signed as well by the Premiership team. So a bit of a bargain there at $200. And then there was a long sleeve Essendon Bombers Michael Hurley trainer that went for $237.50. A Christian Petrarca match worn with a COA. And also photo proof, which is beautiful. To have a photo with Christian Petrarca holding up this jumper is great for any collector. So, of course, it got good money. So, $1,250 that one went for. Another Michael Hurley. This one, a Clash for Cancer. Essendon jumper. Went for $335. Chris Marston, West Coast Eagles 2019 Indigenous. Player issue, yes. $750. Another one, West Coast Eagles jumpers, proving that they're quite high still. Especially in any of these current jumpers or any of the last few years' jumpers, they are going for astronomical numbers. Even Chris Marston, who, if you talk to a lot of West Coast Eagles fans, they didn't really like him too much, which I was quite surprised about, because being a Freo supporter, I did still watch a lot of West Coast games, being in WA, but I actually didn't think he was that bad, but I guess I was wrong, because, yeah. But anyway, whoever picked this one up, $750, obviously thought he was a decent player. Another Essendon Bombers jumper. So a lot of Bombers jumpers gone up lately. What's going on there? 2015 match-worn Dreamtime at the G jumper. Adam Cooney's jumper went for $546. A Michael Voss match-worn. Well, probably not. I don't believe it to be match-worn. But anyway, Michael Voss Clash. Really weird yellow jumper with the giant line on it. It's just a weird colour, but still cool. It stands out. I believe it's a 2006 jumper. It went for $555. So interesting to see if that one actually did sell. I believe it did, but it'd be interesting to see if it was paid for and all that. But I don't believe it to be match worn, and it's hard to say it is match worn when you haven't got any proof, and it doesn't even look like it. So I'll just have to let the new owner, make their own decision on that one. But yeah, wasn't quite for me. Shane Crawford, looks like a 2008-ish, went for $180.50. Brownlow medalist, and one of the all-time greatest ever players. To see something like that go for so cheap, I'm just really surprised and kind of dumbfounded, because Shane Crawford, I say that name and I think absolute superstar, and his jumper should be going for a lot more money. So I'm really surprised that it did only go for $180. So again, more Bombers jumpers keep coming up. Looks like a 2008 Adam McPhee went for $152. 2013-ish, Brandon Goddard went for $275. And another Adam Cooney went for $410. A Gary Ablett player issue China game jumper, really cool. Any sort of one-off jumpers you can get, especially these superstars, is always going to be a great get. Went for $456. Josh Kennedy 2014 or 15 Clash went for $207. Jimmy Bartell 2012 went for $201. Dean Cox, ex-West Coast, now Sydney assistant, went for $335. Looks like a 2013 jumper. Mitch Robinson, Brisbane Clash jumper, which would have been very recent, went for $233. A Brad Shepherd, West Coast Eagles player issue 2018, went for $470. Good dollars there, but a great player, pretty underrated, I'd imagine. Another big surprise here, the 2003 AFL Grand Final, Stephen McKee, It was just a emergency on the day, I believe. Went for $787.12. So there was quite a few of these particular jumpers up on eBay only a couple of years ago, and these were going for around about $100, $120. So big ebbs and flows, and obviously supply and demand. So if there was a lot on eBay at the time, that's probably why people didn't think they were worth as much, and they were going a lot cheaper. They obviously don't come up all that often now, and as a result, they go for a lot more money. So yeah, keep an eye out for any Collingwood or anybody really grand final jumpers, because they're probably going to be worth a bit more money at this stage. A 2011, and I love these designs, the 2011 Hawks Kokoda jumper. Signed PI, it's a player issue. Josh Gibson went for $406, and the same one, but 2010 Sam Grimley Kokoda jumper went for $255. These are great designs. Like, they're very one-off. Well, obviously they wear them twice, but very one-off as far as they wear them once a year, and they just look great. If you haven't seen them, have a look at the Kokoda jumper. So it was a really, really nice design that it has a camouflage in the background of the Hawk. So really cool. Looks awesome. This one I wasn't too sure about, but it looks great, and it probably is legitimate. Taylor Walker, number 13, obviously. Name jumper. So from 2014 in round number 5, they wore the name jumpers, all the names of the surnames on the back of their jumpers for one round. And this, I believe that that the Crows and a number of other clubs actually retailed a few of them. But I believe that the Crows actually sort of retailed the player authentic ones as well. I like to call them player authentics because player issue it makes it too close to being a legitimate on-field jumper, whereas this is made exactly the same. And this one very well could be, but I believe, and I could be proven wrong there, I hope I am, that they also made them the same in retail wise as well. But yeah, if anyone wants to let me know if that's not the case, then please do so. This one went for $346. A 1999 Carlton Grand Final player issue match worn. That's interesting wording there, but it's one of the two. I'd say player issue, because if you haven't got any proof, let's just say player issue and be done with it. Number 42 went for $2,000. Very good dollars there. Again, like I say, grand final jumpers, that's where you want it to be. It's the pinnacle of the AFL, pinnacle where you want to be. So, the end of the season, that last game, there's not that many jumpers out there of that particular game. So, you may think because it's a club who didn't win a game that day that it's worth nothing. Who wants to lose his jumper? Well, the people who support those clubs probably do. Or anybody that just supports AFL in general who loves collecting these one-off jumpers. They would be the ones that you will think will pay more money for these jumpers. So actually, I saw somebody pretty much say the exact thing the other day. They laughed at somebody who wanted $400 for a Hawks 2012 grand final jumper. And I just said, and he said, why would anyone pay $400 for a losing grand final jumper? And I said, mate, you find me a Fremantle 2013, even though I have a few now, I'll give you double that at least, and you'll be the one laughing all the way to the bank, but I'll still be stoked. So, yeah, some people will pay much more and they'll be very happy with it. So just because you're not willing to spend that much money doesn't mean that others aren't. So, yeah, shush. And the last one of the AFL I'll get to is the recent one. Hawks this season, actually. So it's great to see the Tasmania sponsor at the top of the Hawks jumper. Obviously, the Heat Press Tasmania logo over the GPS pocket, which has only been done this year in 2020, just to get a little bit more dollars through the clubs. So, yeah, you can tell it's 2020 purely because of that. Other reasons probably you can as well, but yeah, it is awesome to see some of these on eBay or even just on for sale in any of the Facebook pages or anything like that. So, yeah, good to see them up there. It was a Tim O'Brien, and it went for $385. Now, there's two other items on eBay that aren't AFL, but I thought I'd mention them anyway because I thought I was interested enough to look at them and watch them until they ended. So maybe you might be interested as well to hear about them. First one I'll cover is a Ben Graham. So those who don't remember, Ben Graham played for the Geelong Cats back in the 90s and into the 2000s. He was a bit of a legend, I believe, at Geelong. He played 219 games between 1993 and 2004, and he went off to the NFL in America to be a punter. Obviously, he's not the first one to do that. but he is extremely successful, and I think he's the most successful one to do so. He is the only one to be named the captain of both an AFL and an NFL side. So very, very interesting. I didn't actually know that stat until I read that about 3.5 seconds ago. So this one was an Arizona Cardinals jersey, which was game worn. And he also played in a Super Bowl as well, so well done. So he's actually the only Australian to play in a Super Bowl. So I watched this and I was actually pretty keen to have a punt on it, but again, I forgot the auction and that was more for me. It sold for $200, so somebody, I believe, picked up an absolute bargain there, and I think Geelong fans are probably a little bit disappointed they let it go. And the last one I'm going to mention is, again, not AFL, but this is the sort of thing that we're kind of lucky that we don't live in America and we follow the NBA and collect their stuff, because this one isn't even a real jersey. It's a custom-made jersey. And what I mean by custom-made is the fact that it started out as a blank, what we would call player issue, but what they would call pro cut. So pro cut meaning it's exactly the same as what the players would wear on court, but it started out blank. So no name, no team name, no numbers on the jersey at all. And the person has got somebody. There are some actually groups over in America that will do it for you. They will put on any number, any name in the exact same material and configuration that the players actually wear on court. So that person has done this, and he's basically created a LeBron James player issue jersey. It's a Cleveland one, so it does look great. The reason you can tell it is a custom, the fact that it's an extra large length plus 2, meaning that just like AFL, it's an extra large with extra length of 2 inches. Now, LeBron James would not wear an extra large length plus 2. Chances are he'd wear a double extra large. Well, not even. I believe they actually go by numbers as far as their current jerseys go. But he wouldn't have worn an extra large. It would have been a minimum double extra large, I believe, and the length would have been a lot longer. Being a 6'8" superstar, he would probably wore a length plus 4, possibly even length plus 6. But the standard size for replica jerseys is length, extra large or large, whatever. But the standard is length plus 2. So this one started out as a very standard jersey, and they've, it was probably $150 jersey, and they've created this jersey to be a LeBron James jersey, and it went for $2,022. So yeah. Somebody creates a jersey like that over here and everyone's aware of it, and no one's going to pay a stupid amount of money like that, and chances are the person who bought it probably doesn't know, which is really disappointing, really sad for them. They just spent $2,000 and they're thinking they're getting something unbelievable and something they will cherish for the rest of their life, or something that they can potentially sell for a lot more money in future. But unfortunately for them, they're not going to be able to, because it's not real. And anyone who would be looking to spend a big amount of money would probably figure that out pretty quickly and let them know that their jersey is not worth anywhere near what they think it is, unfortunately. It's not signed either, so sad for them that they've spent a lot of money, and these are the things that I know we all look out for. So, yeah, I don't think it was any of you that bought it, but if you did, let me know, because I'm kind of hoping you got your money back. That's it. That's all we are going to mention as far as the sales on eBay is concerned. There was a hell of a lot more, but I'm not going to get into it because that was more than enough. That went for far too long. And I want to talk about one last thing before we wrap up today. It's nearly the end of the season. We've got one more week, this weekend of games before the finals start, which obviously for, at least 8 groups of supporters means that all excitement about the finals for you and potentially playing in a grand final at the Gabba under lights for the first time. So that's exciting. There's also quite a few of us who will be looking at it as this is the time where end of season sales start to get talked about. Yep, they're coming, and we're all pretty excited about it. I know that everyone's going to start saving their pennies for the next one. I've been getting some tips and some tidbits about the Fremantle sale coming up and what they're looking to do. So it still hasn't been decided exactly what's going to happen there. And I reckon a lot of other clubs are potentially in the same boat. Because, the clubs probably don't know what to do because they can't do a whole hell of a lot, especially in Melbourne. They can't do anything. So they're going to have to start making some different decisions on how they're going to do it. Port Adelaide just did something very interesting, which I'll get into very shortly. And Fremantle looked at that and thought, I wonder if we can do the same thing. So they asked my opinion on that. And I think you'll gather from what I mentioned about Port Adelaide very shortly, my resulting answer to Fremantle as far as what I think they should do in regards to if they should do it the same as Port Adelaide. And anyway, so I do know when the Fremantle sale is coming up. I'm not sure if I can mention it at this stage, but I will let you know as soon as possible. I will get the all clear from them to let you know when it's coming, as I do have a date. And it's pretty exciting. And I'll let you know as well that the pricing will be similar, if not the same as last year, which is great because there was talk about it being more expensive. I don't know if that came because of the Indigenous sales were so high. Maybe they're thinking they can squeeze a few more dollars out of people, or the fact that the club just needs money, because every club, will need money at this stage, so they'll try and get it where they can. But thankfully I've had a chat and I think they've come to their senses a little bit that these sort of things, you don't want to go too crazy. You don't want to ask people for too many dollars, especially in a year like this where everyone's like handed over their hard-earned cash. As members, we've been asked to hand over 100% of our membership, and that was well before we ever had a chance of getting to games. A lot of other clubs did that as well. They'd said that we'll pledge 100% of our membership to the club, obviously to help it keep running. So the last thing you want is just to continue to gouge money out of people who are more than happy to help out when needed. But things like this is when you want to reward your members or your fans. They don't have to be members. They can just be big fans of the club who will spend money through merchandise and things like that. Or obviously support the club from afar or whatever, even just on TV, yelling at the TV, they're still supporting us. So that goes for every club. You don't want to see everyone getting gouged, and it's good when clubs listen. So I'm really impressed that clubs or that people do come to their members or their fans. And again, it's something I'll mention the Port one, which I believe that they need to do. It's just great to hear that they are willing to listen and that they will take things on board. So as far as pricing and how they're going to do things, it looks like it's going to be pretty good and very similar as last year, as long as we're able to get through allowing it to happen without any repercussions through COVID and the AFL allowing it as well. So so enough rambling. I haven't heard of any other sales coming up, but keep an eye out and the ear out. Now, Port Adelaide just did one on Monday morning of all times at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. So I believe on the weekend, last weekend, so only a few days before it happened, they sent out a blast email to let their members know or their fans know that they were going to do a mystery Guernsey sale. Now, what that meant was not everyone was entirely sure in the first email anyway, but the second email, or a bit more delving into it anyway, and on their Facebook page, they made it a little bit more obvious. So what this was a complete mystery, pun intended. What they wanted to do was they had 150 Guernseys available, and they wanted to get $250 for a ticket, basically. Not a literal ticket, but figurative ticket. So you pay $250 and you get one Guernsey. So $250 per ticket per Guernsey. At the time, there was believed to be no limits on what you could get. I believe that actually changed about halfway through the sale, where they then limited it to one. I'm not too sure whether the sales or the cashiers actually adhered to that, and I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I do know of quite a few people that got multiple jumpers, and it would have been pretty unfair for those ones at the back end of that. So, as we mentioned at last year's end of season sales and previous, the port guys and the port collectors and members and fans, they do go crazy for their jumpers, which is great. Everyone loves collecting. That's why we're here. Even at short notice and on a Monday morning, I believe they still had around about 75 people in a line to get a ticket for these jumpers. And that's a good effort. In such short notice, that's a fantastic effort to do that. They also mentioned that they were going to take phone orders as well for interstate fans. I didn't say interstate members, so it's interstate fans. So I believe one of the main gripes from most port collectors is why couldn't we keep it to members only? And I agree with that, really, because he only had 150 jumpers available. And, I myself am not a Port Adelaide member, but I thought, gee, what a good opportunity to get on and see what you could get. I was kind of excited, with this raffle or mystery lucky dip, I'll call it, because that's pretty much what it was. They did release a list of the Guernseys that was available, so I think that probably threw a bit more excitement into the group, and people started to realise, well, there was some really good stuff in there that they would mind a shot at. There was probably some stuff in there that, you pick up those and you think, oh, this is, obviously it's not going to be anywhere near as worth as much as some of the others will, but I guess that's just a risk you would have to take. So I really hope that most people got what they wanted. I did see there was quite a lot of people who probably didn't. And from what I heard from some of the people in line and what I've seen is there was some fights going on in the line, which, not sure how to really stop that from happening. I guess, people were a little bit upset that people were picking up multiple jumpers and then coming back through the line and, I guess, showing off a little bit, which, people are excited. That's going to happen. But then some people get a little bit upset and take it a little bit too far, and maybe they didn't get the jumper that person got because that's what they wanted and it didn't happen for them, and they, emotions go a little bit too far, and things happen. So it is disappointing, and I would probably agree that it should be kept to members because those guys, they put in their hard-earned cash, and they're asked again to put in a lot more money, $250 for what's effectively just a lucky dip is a lot of money to ask. And so they've done that anyway. So they've gone out and they've pulled out their cash, and I believe they sold out all these jumpers within an hour. And I've seen some great jumpers. They are tremendous, some of the designs they had this year, and obviously Port have gone great this year. So I think even the jumpers that people are probably a little bit disappointed with, that if they go on and win a premiership, I don't think they'll be too upset with what they got in the end. No, I probably wouldn't be if I had a premiership season winning jumper. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens as far as that goes. But I also, like I said, I jumped on there as well because I was thinking, I did see that there is 10 prison bar jumpers up for grabs as well. So the prison bars obviously went for a heck of a lot of money. The match-worn ones that went to auction recently as well, they went for, I think minimum was $1,100. So the prison bars, I believe, was probably the number one want from everybody. There wasn't any major names. Probably Wiley Buzzer, Kane Farrell, probably the biggest names as far as what they had there from that. From what I was told as well, that they were potentially worn in the scratch match. So they could also technically, if you want to call them match-worn jumpers as well, you definitely wouldn't want to call them AFL match-worn jumpers. But even if they were worn in the scratch match, it'd be really, really cool. But even if they were just player issue jumpers, that's what everyone sort of seemed to want. That and the round one jumpers as well. Round one being the home that had the heat-pressed MG in the bright red. So that was another absolute want from what I could tell. So I did jump on the phone, and I got on there exactly 8:30 a.m. here, which is 10 a.m. in Adelaide, and I had two phones. So Emma actually gave me her phone, because I expected it to potentially be a bit of a hassle getting through. And when I say it was a bit of a hassle, it certainly was. And I was just constantly hanging up, retrying. And I actually did that, I think it was around about 1,000 times. And no exaggeration, I would have actually called that number 100,000 times in about an hour. Never got through, not once. Did it ever get past? I'm very sorry, but the club is closed at the moment. So it was frustrating. And from what I looked at while I was waiting and attempting to get through, looked at some of the pages and the reaction from other people not being able to get through. And some of the people in line were saying that the cashiers weren't touching the phones and weren't going to do so until after the line was clear. Now, if I was a member and I was an interstate member, I'd be really disappointed to hear that. Obviously, not being a member and just being a connoisseur of jumpers, I wasn't going to get too upset about it because it's really, if I miss out, it's not a problem because they belong to people who really, really want them, and clearly there was people out there that really, really wanted these jumpers. So, yeah, I just sent an email, just thought, I'll just give it a go, just send them an email and say, hey, just wanted to find out if there are any of the jumpers left and whether it was worth me continuing to try to call. That was about 50 minutes in. So I continued to try and call, and within 5 minutes I got an email back to say, hey, yes, we're just having troubles with our phones. If you would like to make an email order, we can take that for you right now. So I thought, oh, you beauty. I've got to be up for work in an hour and a half, so I can get a little bit of sleep if I can just get this over and done with nice and quick. So, yep, handed over my card details, and within, I think it was about 10 minutes, because I actually forgot to transfer enough money into the account for postage. So I did that, let them know 10 minutes later, and then 5 minutes I got a message to say that it was processed and done, and my jumper was picked. And I was one of the lucky 10 who did actually pick up one of the prison bar jumpers. So if that's the first time you're hearing that, and probably is because I've only told one person, I apologise if you were on there trying to get one. I did get Tobin Cox. So, yeah, at the moment he's an untried player, but, didn't matter. It was all about the design, as I'm sure it was for you guys as well, if you were trying to pick up a prison bar. I'm stoked to be able to get that, because that and the hoops, I think the hoops looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm really disappointed they didn't wear it, because it would look absolutely amazing on field. But that and the hoops was what I was after, and I was able to pick up one over the prison bar, and I'll obviously be sitting back and waiting for that to arrive in the mail, and I am absolutely stoked. So, yeah, fingers crossed that you guys were able to pick up what you wanted. I know there's been a heck of a lot of trading and even sales because you didn't get what you wanted going on. So, being able to move on some of your stuff, it is disappointing to see when someone puts up a jumper that you've just got on the pages for sale to sell it because it isn't what you wanted. But then people are getting on there commenting saying, you just got this, why would you sell this? Or it's none of their business, really. Unless you're asking a silly amount of money for it, it's none of their business. I mean, really, it's none of their business anyway. But they don't know why you're selling it. Half the time it is because it was a lucky dip and you didn't get what you're after. So why should you have to keep it? The answer is you don't. So anyway, I continue to ramble on. But, so that was just something I saw that perhaps didn't go down 100% well. As a non-supporter of the club, I rather enjoyed kind of that lucky dip feel of it. But if I was somebody who was supporting the club and I was after particular jumpers, then it certainly would not be for me. I would be quite disappointed in the way it happened. Because it really gave you little to no opportunity to pick up the jumpers that potentially that you're after to fill holes in your collection or players in specific that you collect. It does make it hard that you have to go through then trying to trade, and some people won't want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard, obviously, right now that people just, it's hard to know exactly what's best to do. I believe it was taken over by new management recently as well, so they're trying something else. And I believe, I'm not too sure whether they're going to do their end of season sale either. Obviously, they got rid of 150 jumpers, so what they'll have left for a potential end of season sale is obviously not going to be a lot. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, and I would highly doubt that they would do that particular format again. Alright, so I think that's going to be enough today. It's been a long episode. So it is now 12:35 a.m. here, so I do have to get on and edit this. so I do sound half decent and don't bore you all to death. So yeah, that will do our episode for today. I again appreciate you all listening, sending me your messages of support. When I do get those emails to say I love your show, there's nothing quite better than that, reading that you guys are enjoying the show. So please continue to do so. If you can jump on to Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you listen, give us a 5-star rating and a review. I'd love to see your reviews as well. I don't see very many at all. So if you want to give us a review, that'd be great. Hopefully nice words, but hey, let us know what you think. If you want us to improve anything, please let us know. If there's anything you want to hear, it'd be great. So, and again, as I always say, if you would like to be on the show, let me know. If you want to share your collection or just share your thoughts, then fantastic. I'd love to hear from you. So that's going to do it. I can't wait to get on to our milestone 20th episode next month, more than likely. But yeah, in the meantime, I appreciate your listening in. I hope the next month or so is fruitful for you and you're able to pick up a big one for your collection. So ta-ta for now, goodbye and good night.